The following podcast contains strong language, graphic violence, nudity, questionable visual effects, and a total lack of effort. Viewer discretion is advised.
If we survive, I'll show you everything.
Four guys and a movie. Four guys and a movie. Tony, Brian, Rob, and Joe reviewing movies for the show. Four guys and a movie.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Four Guys and a Movie, the podcast about movie snacks and all things nerdy. My name is Gay Ops, surrounded by these other Joes.
Heavy Dookie.
Cobra Commander.
Nanotechnology.
Snake Guy.
And we did something. A movie?
G.I.Joe. Rise of the Cobra.
Yeah, we saw G.I.Joe. It's from 2009. Now, Joe, I assume you've seen this movie before, being a G.I. Joe
No.
fan.
No, I saw the trailer and I was like, no.
Smart man.
I don't know why you'd be so choosy.
Anything in the 80s, they're like, hey, we made a movie. I'm like, no. Like any of the toy franchises, I'm like, I don't. It's not going to be good. Or, I at least start with my guard up. I might relent to see it
During a podcast, for instance.
Mm-hmm. If I'm forced to by a podcast.
Were there any that worked? Like maybe Lego Movie, if you count that?
There's a Lego G.I.Joe.
The Ninja Turtles movie?
The original Ninja Turtles movie,
But that,
I'll at least
during
watch
the
that.
80s.
but that also,
I just meant that one.
the cartoon kind of came out like late 80s, early 90s. The movie came out late 80s. It's not quite the same, I don't think, but I guess that counts.
I mean,
Any movie made in the past 2000 about a toy franchise from the 80s.
That's what I was thinking.
I enjoy the shit out of Masters of the Universe. It's not a good movie.
But that was made in the 80s.
And that's, well, yeah, that's...
And you're wrong. I'm just trying to think.
It's not a Masters of the Universe movie. It's not to think too hard and leave a lot of dead air. But all right, yeah. If you come up with any, or if our listeners want to write in with any, or argue for cases of some mentioned or whatever,
Then you're wrong.
but write in anyway.
John, you've seen this before?
I've seen it before, but I didn't remember jack shit other than disappointment.
Brick, you've seen this before?
I actually have in theaters,
Wow.
but by mistake. So there was a double feature monster movie, and we were hanging out in the back of the theater after the double feature had ended, bullshitting about the movie. And then they started playing another movie. They didn't look to see if anybody was there, and we were like,
It was
okay.
G.I. Joe. They didn't
And it
give
was
a shit.
this. And I was like, okay. And I kept being more and more annoyed that I was still sitting there watching.
I think they were playing that to get you out of it.
Yeah.
So I remember that the
that was
goddamn
back in
particle
Waco,
accelerator
Texas.
office and jumping out of a window, and you should have dislocated your shoulders grabbing onto a helicopter. I remember being mad at this movie, and I'm still mad at this movie.
I am now just picturing those poor theater people that are like, the movie ended an hour ago. All these nerds won't leave. Start playing G.I. Joe. Get them out of here.
They're probably fans of G.I. Joe. This should infuriate them and make them want to leave.
But boss, the projector will commit seppuku again.
At the very least, by the time we get to the Black Eyed Peas, most of them should be gone.
Now, Tony, as I usually do when you and I watch movies that have an established mythos, how accurate was this movie to the established mythos?
Isn't that pretty much what we're going to discuss for the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just opening that up.
It just spoiler alert. Very and not at all. Both
Yeah,
at the
somehow
same
both.
time.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
All right.
I will also just throw out a little, probably surprise to everyone at this table, including the person in question, but I saw this movie, not in the theater, I believe on the recommendation of Rob. Yeah. Yeah.
Rob is giving an expression right now like, why did you listen to me?
No, he's giving the expression of, did I see this, let alone recommend it?
That genuinely is my thought.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
I mean, I have seen this movie before.
Yeah.
But I would recommending it's not really. What were my exact words? And was I holding my dick?
I believe we are on the phone, so I can't answer that second part.
Or you had several margaritas.
I think one of your Optimus Primes was holding your dick.
Okay.
No.
So that I can't have been telling tales.
My brain is Swiss cheese, so I can't say exactly what you said, but I believe it was just kind of you were like, did you see the G.I. Joe movie? And I was like, no, that looked like shit. You were like, I saw it. It wasn't that bad.
So now if you want to know if Rob's fucking with you or not, you're like, put your dick on Optimus Prime and say that again.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe you
Swear
never tried
on the
Prime. Yep. Tony, what else do you know about this movie? It's good.
So yeah, officially this is G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra from 2009. As already said, directed by Steven Sommers, who we've done before with, I'm sure you won't be surprised considering the cast of this, did The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. He also did Van Helsing and Catch Me If You Can. Not the good one. There's also a whole lot of nonsense that can be found on the internet about this movie, but not that's actually informative, other than a bunch of people got hurt doing this, a bunch of people were talked into doing this, physically and emotionally. A bunch of people were talked into doing this for their kids.
Were they blackmailed into doing this?
Yes, to get their kids back, he mentioned.
Did any person actually do a stunt in this film? It looks like they were all computer generated into the scenes.
Mostly the ladies when they were.
Yeah, it's a bunch of programmers' fingers.
Yeah.
There's some severe cases of carpal tunnel.
They just had like a conveyor belt of poor animators with crippled hands going through.
That's why it was so bad.
We need another one.
Send him out to the wood chipper.
See, and again, keeping the tradition of the old cartoon alive.
Yeah,
Just a bunch of
exactly.
animators
Yeah.
with broken hands that gets shoved away.
The art director with a whip.
Sienna Miller apparently wanted to do this movie because, quote, it didn't involve having a breakdown, being addicted to heroin, or dying in the end. It might be fun.
What?
Which one was that now?
The Baroness.
Okay.
Like her career is just kind of like more dramatic roles, I'll say.
I feel like she might have been disappointed when she actually knew what this character was going to go through.
I'll go back to dying of heroin.
Yeah. And this has to be fake, but someone said on IMDb, which so questionable already, that originally there was a post-credit scene where Snake Eyes tells a joke that they decided to cut. If they're doing it Kenny style, I'd kind of be okay with that.
Or
Snake Eyes, you're hilarious. I thought it was kind of racist.
Well, that's the thing. That's his thing. He just whispers racist slurs under his breath.
That's actually why he took the vow of silence. Yeah. It's a court
Well,
order.
no, they put the mask on him to mute him out.
Yeah.
He's just a constant stream of filth under there.
Like sewing Deadpool's mouth shut.
Yeah.
Anyway, so do you want to guess at the budget this movie had?
Probably
That's an
pretty
interesting
high.
call because, like, it looks like a lot of money was spent, but it looks like not a lot of effort was purchased.
How much
from
did
that.
they spend vacuum forming Snake Eyes DSLs? I don't know. It's hard. Well, because like Joe said, there's a lot of stuff in this movie
There's a lot of CGI.
But it all looks like trash.
Yeah.
You can spend a lot of money poorly.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh yeah.
I was trying not to add in, but yeah, it was exactly what I was thinking. Like, money was spent on this movie, just not in the right spots.
I'm just gonna go with a hundo.
yeah, like
I'm gonna go 120.
I'm gonna say like this is post Transformers. They were high on that shit. I'm gonna say 200.
Wow.
I could believe it.
201.
Space Odyssey.
Went the wrong way. It was 175.
Brick wins.
Oh, I got it?
Yep.
Wow. That's a first.
You guys were really close with that, though. Want to guess how much
Too
it
much?
made?
It got a sequel.
I mean, again,
Somehow.
because of blackmail or because of box office sales?
Yeah, also just a quick thing to throw in when trying to do research. A bulk of the other bulk of information I found was all the interviews where people that were involved in this said they hated it.
Did any of them return in the sequel? Just curious.
Briefly?
I don't really remember any fanfare about this movie, and given my reputation, and I was like, this is bad, I would think that it lost money. So
What are some of the other things around time?
So the Transformers came out 2 years prior.
But I mean, like, released, like, that would take
funds away.
Oh,
Didn't do that research.
2009?
A lot of other forgettable stuff.
Probably a Harry Potter of some kind. I don't know.
Some sort of Harry
One
Potter.
of them Harry
So,
Potters of some kind of
I'll guess 100 million.
I'm gonna go
throw that
200
out
again. Just we'll just move this a little.
250.
Get this going.
201 again.
302.
Oh, that is
Yay.
not okay.
Let's celebrate.
Ah.
Celebrate. See G.I.Joe twice. Okay. So, Joe, unless Tony's got some more stuff,
Oh, yeah.
let's get this cast list done and out of the way because we got some food.
Food's better than this movie.
Snackums.
Snarfums.
Little thingy wingies to put in your mouthy wellies.
Oh, District 9 came out.
Oh.
This is a great podcast. We're all fucking staring at our phones.
So did Watchmen.
I reached for my phone and I'm like, let me look up IMDb. And I was sent a cast list, which is very nice, by a mysterious benefactor. But he sent me the cast list for, I'm guessing, the second movie.
Okay.
The-
You know what?
Zach
Let's roll
Galifianakis starred as Snow Job,
What?
and Henry Rollins was Duke. This,
Oh no.
That was intentionally fake. I wanted to see if I could get Joe to do it.
Oh,
That's the cast
yeah.
list for the Ballad of G.I. Joe video that was made for Funny or Die, I think, or whatever.
Oh,
pages
okay.
ago.
I want Vinnie Jones as Destro.
Yeah, it's a better cast, isn't it?
Chuck Liddell's Gung Ho, Julianne Moore as Scarlet. Yeah, no, this will work. Alan Tudyk as Shipwreck. All right. Yeah, I'd rather just read that cast. But you got was that a Channing Tatum as Duke? You got Dennis Quaid just
Literally phoning
it in. Yeah, just holographing his ass in there as Hawk.
Wait, is Channing Tatum a football player?
Yes.
Yep.
He has a name like he should be a football player.
There you go, Joe.
Okay, then we got Marlon Wayans as Ripcord, Adalwe Akinoyu Abaje as Heavy Duty, Christopher Eccleston as McCullen / Destro, Gregory Fitoussi as Baron de Cobra, and a bunch of other people that don't matter. Sienna Miller as Anna / the Baroness, and Ray Park as Snake Eyes.
That's
Darth Maul himself.
What was Brendan Fraser's character name?
Sergeant.
Stone.
Yeah.
Sergeant Stone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even think they could have. I don't think they made him an actual G.I. Joe, or if they did, it's not a very prominently featured one.
No, I believe he was supposed to be somebody, but he was the wrong ethnicity to be said person. So they were like at the last minute, just like make him Sergeant
When
Stone.
has that stopped Hollywood?
But you could have just thrown an orange jersey on him and he was Bazooka. Like, it's not hard. The G.I. Joes are fairly generic.
Don't name
Yeah.
him, just whatever.
Well, he's not named in the actual film.
Well, we'll just call him whatchamacallit
That
then.
may have been by
Speaking
Also,
of...
wait, just
there's an
quick.
also.
Because I looked it up as well. Some of the movies that came out around this time. We have Gamer, the great one.
Oh, dear.
District 9 is already mentioned. Regular 9,
Tim Burton.
Oh, the little
the puppety
puppet
things,
Yeah.
whatever. Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie one. We got G-Force, that is also with Zach Galifianakis and some shitty gerbils. Anyway,
Wow.
guinea pig. Sorry.
That's a bad cinema lineup.
Yeah, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Ew.
Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs,
there you
Jennifer's
go.
Body. Yeah, Whip It, Funny People.
Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
It was just a sad year for cinema in general.
Well, that was
Not a great time.
That was the strikes, right? Just like today.
Oh, that might have been. And get ready for more of that.
Yep.
Coming soon.
I mean, Disney was pretty much there already. Just no longer using writers. Guys, we did a thing, a tier list recently that you should check out. It's on our YouTube page. We have a YouTube page.
With YouTube stuff on it.
I think it's called 4 a.m. Podcast, hopefully. So search for that.
Just type that in. I think it's
Type
called
that in.
4 a.m. podcast,
You'll
hopefully.
see our logo, our little dice.
Type in stuff that happens at 4 a.m. to YouTube. See what happens.
Yeah,
It
it
happens in vapors.
couldn't possibly go wrong.
Anyway, so we did a candy tier list, and it turns out that none of you have had whatchamacallits before.
At least not in a couple decades.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
many of us had, but no one could remember what the hell it was.
Okay, well,
I remember the commercials.
I got some. Here they are.
Sweet.
So we're gonna
Literally.
get them.
Send them around.
And I also got a whole mess of Frankenstein's monster, if you will. Hostess Ding Dongs plus Twinkies mashups.
Okay.
I'm trying to do this.
Need some help?
Sort of. No, just trying to do it away from the microphones.
Okay.
Without crushing the candy bars.
Twinks and dongs go well together.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you got some good cake behind you.
Should
And a
we
chocolate
call
bar.
that Ding Twinks?
No, we shall not.
Wow. 230 calories per bar.
Just
what?
Put it in your mouth.
There was-
fat chat.
Put it in your mouth.
I've seen you eat
Your
before.
motherfucking mouth.
I do like that it's displayed prominently on the front like this is a bonus feature. This will get you fat real quick.
That's the Surgeon General warning right there.
Peanut flavored crisps.
All right, it's going in.
So enjoys this noise, I guess, guys.
Yeah.
So this bar,
We'll get it, dead air.
it has strength. Like, because I'm like, I don't think I could talk with this in my mouth.
Yeah.
Just make it go.
I mean, it's pretty damn good. It's not bad. That'll do, Piggly. That'll do.
I don't know why I've been sleeping on this for so long.
All right.
Is that why they're warm?
Yes.
So now that we've all had a refresher, where would we put it on the tier?
These are a solid B for me, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not ready to A or S it yet because I've only had the one and it's not like,
Oh, that's it.
but
That's it all night.
yeah, it's
No,
it's at
first
least
day,
a B.
Rob. Come on.
Yeah.
I think I might actually put it on an A.
Okay. So big ups
Yeah.
to whatchamacallit. Good job.
Yeah, well done, whatchamacallits. And now for the The Twinkdings. Twink-dongs.
Twinkle dongs.
Twink dongs.
The twinkening.
I don't know.
Badonka twonk.
So enjoy some Cranklin wrappers.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking about our dear old friend S.
Well, S relented. He told us to keep eating.
That's true. He loves it now.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that gets him hard.
All right. Presentation-wise, this is a hockey puck.
Yeah, well, that's the ding dong's kind of formula.
Yours at least is completely covered in chocolate.
Now, mine's still missing pieces.
Oh, okay.
Why does it have mange?
There's like an Achilles heel sort of spot where its mom dipped it in the sacred chocolate waters.
It dipped it all right.
Going in.
Oh, the patchy bits make me nervous.
No, good. Yeah.
Flavor's okay. Texture, not so much. I've never really been a fan of the ding dong. Like, it's rigid on the outside, but then you bite into it and it like it doesn't collapse. Like it squishes, like it's foam.
That's
Yeah.
what she said.
It's memory foam.
Yeah.
The cream is a little different too, right? It's not like normal Twinkie cream.
I don't know.
It kind of reminds me of a chocolate-covered donut. Kind of.
Yeah,
It is kind of like an Entenmann's little donut.
Yeah. It's not bad.
It's not bad. I'd rather have a Twinkie or a ding dong though.
Or what about whatchamacallit?
Well, yeah, no,
I'd definitely rather have the whatchamacallit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatchamacallit.
Like I would let this sit at the bottom of diabetes and rot.
Okay.
Like I mean, maybe.
It's gonna join all the fucking sour patch.
It's half
Kids.
Twinkie
Yeah.
Joe. It won't rot.
Yeah, no, it'll be there forever.
Yeah, it's coming for you. It's coming back up like Bane.
It just forms the base to present the all stars of diabetes.
It is the all
Lays a
spark
foundation.
No, I mean it's not absolutely terrible, but I can only at best do a C.
Yeah, that's. I'd say mid C. Like it's like dead solid at C.
I didn't enjoy biting into it all that much.
It was fine, but
Grade wise, I'm kind of with Joe. I'd be a little kinder on it, but
I'm gonna finish it because I'm a pig.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've already finished mine.
No, you finish what you start.
Yeah,
All right, well, gentlemen,
we're gross. Sorry.
Speaking of finishing what we start,
I have some unfortunate news. That at this point we have to talk about G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra.
Cobra rose for like 15 seconds of this film.
I wouldn't.
I put my
couldn't-
zipper back up
yeah.
after that.
Yeah, it didn't. My Cobra didn't really rise at all.
If there was any rising, they need a hell of a fluffer. This is not.
Oh wait, if we're talking about dicks, like mine retreated, like my sack pulled up into my body to like, defend against a groin shot. Like,
It was so low of a staff, it was a submarine.
Wow.
I don't want to start this.
G.I.
Okay,
Joe.
so
It's like olden times for some reason.
yeah. Well, no. First, we get the generic. Like, you remember how in the 90s there was like that as like the text would go across the
Yeah.
screen. It would always be that
Oh,
green
yeah.
text.
Yep.
This one we get the like as like these text things are flying on the screen, and you're like, movie stop. And then it's like France 1641. So I'm like, why did we just have like the high tech
What
like
was happening?
yeah, like the high tech like forged credits or whatever. So now,
It's gonna
for no
blow the
reason
audience's
we see
minds.
some Scotsman. He's been selling arms to France, and I'm guessing he's been selling arms to Britain or whoever the enemy was. So he's selling arms to both sides. His punishment, instead of being killed, he was given a scorching hot iron mask, and then we
Doctor
just
Doom.
cut to the not so distant future. And I'm like,
Yeah.
we didn't. You literally, you could have just told us that happened, movie. I didn't need to see that.
And later on, they do.
Yeah.
Fucking why not?
And also, they, you throw a MST3K bait in there with their not too distant future, and then you're just like, well, I guess I'll make fun of you then, movie.
Yeah. Only we're gonna do that anyway.
We're at the NATO Weapons Symposium, and we see this McCullen guy.
Also known as the NATO Fun and Gun, but go on.
He's selling the nanomite weapon, which is fired from like an RPG, and it can eat like all the metal on a tank, and then it'll never stop unless you tell it to. And each warhead only has one like kill switch thingy.
Sex robot.
Robot. And that only has a limited range.
I'll never stop.
Yeah. Oh hell no. So yeah, I'm like, why are these weapons like? Who cares? Like this weapon doesn't do anything that like other weapons don't.
That was basically what Dennis Quaid. Who's like he's in his full like dress uniform, is sitting there. I was like, Dennis Quaid is not impressed.
No.
he's already trying to figure out if he can get out of the contract. Like,
Yeah. He's like, why did I sign up for this film? And there's 4 of these weapons have been made in Kyrgyzstan, of all places.
Yes.
That, not even NATO.
No. Totally
That's how they get
trustworthy
you.
place to make a really powerful
Great
weapon.
spot to build these. All right, and so I could already tell, like, this guy, he's obviously a bad guy here. You know, I didn't know if he was going to be like, you know, Cobra Commander or not, because I'm like, they got the Destro vibe with him. But I'm like, whatever, he's our bad guy.
He's Scottish. It's a dead giveaway.
He works for a weapon manufacturer, and he works, you know, for Cobra. We don't know that. The movie hasn't told us that yet, but you could just flat out tell. So
Well,
I'm
he's
like,
Scottish, just like the douchebag that was
so
selling the arms to both sides in the
yeah,
flashback.
exactly. So, you know, we could put it together. So my thing, I'm like, why isn't, like, if he knows how to make these, why isn't he just making them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some sort of elaborate plan where it has to look like NATO lost the weapons or whatever. I'm like, at this point, I was thinking, does he just not have the resources to make them on their own? But we see later on in the movie, we're like, no, he could have made these on his own. So I don't understand his whole plan here.
well, it's funny you mentioned the plan because I don't think I understood any dialogue in any of this entire movie.
So the plan was that he wouldn't look like the bad guy. So if he stole them, then he'd be the bad guy. But if NATO effed up, then he wouldn't be the bad guy, but he could come in and save the day.
But I mean, he could have just been like, we were hit by industrial
A
espionage.
smooth criminal.
Yeah, smooth criminal. Michael Jackson came in, stole them.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, if we start questioning shit like that, we're going to be here all day. Spoiler alert: we're going to be here all day.
Also, quick note, just because this feels like a fun time to mention it, and I was just reminded of it now. But apparently, Stephen Sommers took a lot of time and energy into creating all the technology for this movie that he thought could really exist in about 10 to 20 years.
Mountain Dew Tide Pods? Yes.
Yeah. And this movie takes
They
place in
do exist.
2020.
Just in delicious snack form.
Like, that upsets me as a futurist that he thought that any of this stuff would exist. And then he spent a lot of energy on it.
Not just that it would exist, but it would exist within 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, it just...
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely be turning invisible. That's
Just
I mean,
Well-
we kind of have that technology now.
Do we?
It just
Well,
doesn't
sort
make
of.
any sense for any of the situations they
that it was
showed it in.
used. Yeah.
It's like, hey,
And then
you're
it's
in-
never used when
you're
it'd be
in
super useful.
mid-combat. No, not ever. Nope. Never.
So there is actually a cloaking device that effectively does what they
no,
described.
we know.
But
We have TV.
the cloaking device?
All right.
The-
We're going to get off the rails
Yeah, we
here,
are.
but I'll just point out that these writers don't know how ice works. So, like, don't expect them to know how technology
it's
works.
Just
Again, super accurate, super inaccurate, same time.
Yeah.
Don't know how, but they are. They just are.
So, basically, we meet Duke and Ripcord, and they're in charge of protecting this case that has all 4 of these warheads. It's being transferred out of Kyrgyzstan to somewhere.
in a vehicle
Yep, in a little vehicle convoy.
caravan. Because, doomsday weapons, they don't need
NATO
any more
bought
support
them.
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how that happens.
Also, like, it's Kyrgyzstan, so it's not like there's a fucking airport nearby or anything. Like,
No.
it's basically what you have to do.
Also, not like there's, warring tribes that would ambush you on the street
Or,
as a normal practice.
I forgot the name of it, but it's basically a member of Russia's security organization that rivals
Wagner?
NATO.
Oh,
Or an orangutan prostitute.
okay.
So anyway, so you got a convoy. It's got 2 Apache gunships escorting it. You got some other, light vehicles, some transport vehicle named the Rhino. And it gets attacked by a Transformers, like
Yeah, obviously.
it's a UFO type thing. I mean, it's a VTOL, but it might as well just be a UFO.
Yeah.
My note is UFO that fires dubstep cannons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It aggressively dubsteps you.
Which is like it's throughout the movie.
Yep.
It's everywhere.
And
The
so,
throw gun, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so one of the first things I yelled at the TV is I was like, Cobra fires red lasers. And it was firing the blue lasers. Like, that's just a basic fuck up.
No, it was firing dubstep.
Yeah, but
wasn't
it's
even
got
a
to be
laser.
the red dubstep
Yeah.
at least.
Does dubstep only come in one color?
It's a
Yeah.
dubstep remix of Blue
missed-
by iPhone
So,
16.
this technologist probably reasoned that air has water in it, not fire. So
Yeah.
it would be blue, not red.
So, either way, this thing dubsteps both Apache helicopters out of the air, and they crash right in front and back of the convoy to, like, quasi-box it in. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that was convenient.
Yeah.
Well, listen, they only knew how to like download the helicopter model. They didn't know how to actually manipulate it properly. So wherever it landed was where it landed on screen.
Ironically, like, of all, like, the weird vehicle fights, this is probably the better looking one. Because at first, I wasn't in this one super questioning the special effects yet. There were a few points with the Apaches where I was like, all right, they're not there, but that isn't that bad.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
There were a lot of points where you're like,
Well, later on, I'm like, is anybody actually on a set?
We're building up to it. Yeah.
Does any of this actually exist anywhere?
All right, but so the UFO lands, it deploys a Baroness, and immediately I'm like, that's not the Baroness.
This is a dominatrix.
Yeah, but I'm like John's girlfriend made him a more authentic looking Baroness than this person.
That's because
That's
I
'cause
made the
John
costume.
made it. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, we
but,
both made the costume.
But you're not a film studio, is what I'm saying. Like,
and originally you made that costume for you. You just
Yeah, I
change
just
it over.
I just misjudged the size and couldn't fit in it. My tits are too big.
but it's literally like, when we say we could have done this better, it's like a person at this table literally
Actually
did this
did.
better.
Yep. We
So
have
it-
photographic
Multiverse
evidence.
Armory
Yeah.
on Facebook. Check it out.
I
So
believe she could do the accent better, too.
Go buy
probably,
some shit.
yeah.
Not that Sienna Miller tried. I don't think.
No. All right, so the Baroness and some generic bad guy troopers with dubstep guns. They're bulletproof. They're beating up the soldiers left and right. The Baroness has her dubstep pistol that's blowing everything up. And like this one pistol's powerful enough to like knock a Humvee or AMRAP over or whatever. But I'm like, that's actually authentic to G.I.Joe. That would happen all the time.
Yeah.
So
At this
I'm like,
point,
that's
though,
okay.
I was kind of like, why do you need the missiles?
Yeah, 'cause you have this
could just
insane
take over.
technology.
Yeah, you could take over the Earth anyway. Like,
Yeah.
like they were literally bulletproof, and they have a UFO and a dubstep gun for each dude.
So we find out immediately that the Baroness is actually Anna, and she takes off. She can't just remove the sunglasses she's wearing at night.
No.
She has to, like, Iron Man style, touch them so they disappear.
Yeah, that's cooler.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I guess.
Because it has to represent technology we would have today.
They didn't completely disappear. They just turned completely transparent.
Yeah, which
So-
we do actually have that technology today.
Well,
to be fair,
Yeah, but
Not
we wouldn't
like
use
that.
it for this.
not in sunglasses.
So,
For conference rooms, you can actually push a button and it
Yeah,
will
for the
completely
windows.
opaque out the
Yeah,
windows.
yeah.
so she, like, you're like, all right, Baroness and Duke didn't have a thing. It's not like we don't need a romance subplot.
Yes, we do. Hollywood.
Yeah.
No, yeah. 'cause-
So that's it. And it looks like
No, you,
like
you remember that time when before the Joker killed Bruce Wayne's parents when he was dating Harley Quinn?
I don't know. I assume that happened.
No, that's all nonsense.
Okay. With Batman, I'm like, I just assume it happened by now.
Damn.
In one of the multiverses
I mean,
of Batman.
Yeah.
I can't say you're wrong, but damn.
So, anyway, they almost get, like, Baroness almost steals the case, but Snake Eyes comes jumping down from the skies. And,
Snake Eyes.
Yep, you're like, all right, he's got those lips. I think Snake Eyes back in the day had the lips, but that's, of all the things you didn't keep, why did you keep that?
It's like it's stuck off George Clooney Batman.
Here's the thing, and again, this is where it's like, how do I explain how accurate this is or whatnot? Snake Eye, the original Snake Eyes toy had the lips because it was just a shit-ass toy that they painted black.
They couldn't afford to paint it. So,
they just took, well, they could afford to paint it, but they couldn't afford to sculpt it. Sorry.
Yeah.
He had the lips, but then, like, immediately, or in the cartoon, in the comics, in any other iteration, they were like, that looks stupid, let's not do that. And just
But
gave him a
also,
mouth plate.
If you're gonna not talk, why put lips on your fucking face?
It makes it even more upsetting to everybody else, so they feel his pain.
And someone at least should have been like, oh, his lips are frozen like that. That's why he can't talk. He's got to eat through a straw.
I literally thought
That was what I said.
There
It's
is
like,
a
that's
slit.
why he can't talk, is that mask
There
sucks.
is a slit in there.
I was
why
going
did
more
that
with
person-
like he gets used as a fleshlight once in a while.
It's just his gimp suit.
Yeah.
So
I legitimately thought
I
it was
either
some
can't
kind
or don't talk, but the lips are there because they will open if needed.
of- I thought it was like a techno golem or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because why not?
yeah,
At this point, yeah.
No.
I mean, Cobra had those. They were the bats, I believe.
The bats.
Is that
There's a lot of things in G.I. Joe. That's a terrible acronym.
yeah? What the hell are these Jason X motherfuckers that we get in this movie?
Nothing as far as I can tell. Like they're calling them Vipers, which are like the
soldiers.
various Cobra soldiers. But like there was no nanite stuff or whatever that I knew of, at least back in the day.
Yeah, I don't. Okay.
The Vipers were just Cobra soldiers that they gave
The
specialist
Foot Clan.
training to. So like the ones that are for the mountains are like Rock Viper, and the ones that are for special forces nighttime infiltration are Night Vipers. And
That's why I was like, did I miss a part where they explained these were like somehow bats or something? But
And for
No,
snake pit
I don't think
fighting,
so,
they're
right?
Viper.
So, this movie, they're Neo Vipers, and we find out about them later. All right, so we got Heavy Duty leaning out the side of this thing with a minigun. We got Scarlet with her really dumb hand crossbow thing that fires homing arrows that you can lock on through like watching a video, and like you could just click a guy on the video and be like, hit that right in his eye, and it does.
Such skill.
Yeah.
They're smart arrows.
She put the
Schmarrows.
thing in game journalist mode.
Yeah.
Game genie.
And what was the other one? We have Breaker and
Oh, they had names?
yeah. No, I didn't know that was Breaker till the very end of the movie. They say it, but like a lot of them, they don't say the name.
Which one was Breaker?
The Moroccan guy? The
Scarf.
technology, the computer
techno,
guy.
I thought
Yeah.
his name was Snake Rat or something.
I thought at first he was going to be Tunnel Rat, but
Okay.
I guess not.
So they show up. They defeat the Vipers.
You can't call a Moroccan man a rat.
Duke grabs the suitcase back. The UFO comes by and drops like a little like T-bar thing for Baroness to hold on to.
We saw that again in a movie recently.
Yeah, it was like in fucking like the Jeff Goldblum alien in Asteroid
Yeah.
City escapes the same way.
Oh yeah.
Jesus. So yeah, they Cobra flies off, and Duke's like, I don't know who you are, but you're not getting this case. I don't know why I'm talking like Sylvester Stallone. And Marlon Wayans
fantasizing
shows
about a
up, and
better
you're
movie.
like, God damn it, Marlon Wayans.
I'm in this
We
movie.
thought you were
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
Shit.
You know, And could this be like the first Dungeons and Dragons movie where you're in it for like half the movie and then die and are like good? But anyway, so I'm like Dennis Quaid shows up through a hologram. He's like, "Look, kid, I don't care. Just you could come, bring the suitcase, whatever."
He's
Come on the
literally
suitcase.
phoning it in.
Yeah, where I mean, if this thing was as important as it was, the G.I. Joes would literally just liquidate these two right now and be like, "Oh, everyone died. I don't know what happened to the case."
Yeah.
And like that would be it. But whatever. They bring them into G.I. Joe Command. G.I. Joe, real American heroes. Where's their base? Egypt.
Yeah.
Well, they're not real American heroes anymore.
They're international heroes.
international heroes.
No, like I want a big stupid building with like a fucking gigantic cannon sticking out the front of it for no reason.
In case the Decepticons show up.
Yeah, and come from that direction.
Right. Well, they can. You know, if you put batteries in, you can turn the building around.
Well, the gun has so much range it could fire around the world and hit behind the building.
Should have a giant American flag.
It did. It certainly had that as well.
You're talking about the toy though, not the one in Egypt.
Yeah,
Not the Chinese.
Because I wouldn't put it past them to put a giant American flag on one of the pyramids in Egypt.
Yeah, but that's okay because the mummy's gonna just come out of the sand and suck it right up.
Yeah.
so
He is in this movie.
He sure is.
so now they're flying back to the GI Joe base. There's a whole plethora of GI Joe vehicles you could have chosen. They chose to do like a shitty looking version of the V-22 Osprey, which is just a regular plane, but like a real shitty looking version of it. And here was where I was first like, is that the special effects for this film? Like that's bad. Like
My notes are just tinfoil plane question mark.
I'm like, that's clearly not there. Like, I mean, and, like it would have looked better if you just had a model plane on a string and you superimposed it over the ground.
They could have just used the fucking toy. It
Yeah.
would have been better.
Yeah. Well, but that's my point. Like, that's not a G.I. Joe vehicle. There was
Well,
no.
I mean, yeah.
There's a whole bunch of flying troop transport things you could have chosen from.
All you had to do is scan the toy.
Yeah.
The disturbing thing about the like stainless steel non-painted fuselage look that they were going for there, that's the Starship thing that SpaceX really is designing, and it's stainless steel because it's supposed to be cheap. And I'm like, I really hope it wasn't based on this. Really hope. Really hope.
But you
I
can't
do
be
too.
sure.
I
Well,
can't.
but that's again, they seem to be wanting to split hairs, and they're like, all right, well, we want a G.I. Joe vehicle, but we want it to be, actual technology that we have.
We want the Blackbird from X-Men, but it can't be black.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
So they're like, no, we're gonna take this real world vehicle, paint it something awful, or give it an awful coat, whatever you want to call this mess, and then we're in our headcanon we'll call it the same name as one of these G.I. Joe vehicles, even though
It's a
no
reboot.
one will ever know.
It's a reboot. It's the next model.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just see like a Retaliator or
It's just
something.
it's just
Fucking
like, why?
any of those.
Who is?
Anyway, so all right, we see that, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of sad. We land inside this giant hole in the desert in Egypt.
That's the movie in general.
Yeah, and
My life in general.
yeah.
Oh.
And like, so we go into the pit, like G.I. Joe's base here. And we're supposed to go down this whimsical elevator ride where you're supposed to see all these gigantic rooms with cool stuff happening. And you're just like, this is awful. Like, this does not look good at all.
These are wonderful fiery balls of explosion underwater. And I'm like, oh no.
They are not mantis shrimp. They can't do that.
What is happening here?
But yeah, there's like a whole underground pool where they're having submarine wars.
Yep.
Well, they're showing off the fucking Water World Stunt Spectacular event.
Well,
That's where they practice.
They have to show off the sharks that they are used later. By the way, those sharks do not look anything like the G.I. Joe vehicle shark, but whatever.
But we also need to get in a cameo from, what was it, Wet Dream or something? What?
Wet dream?
I don't
Is
know.
there, is there,
Wet
I'm
pants?
sorry.
What was
Wetsuit.
There was
thank
wetsuit.
you.
Are
Yeah.
you trying to tell us something? How many wet dreams did you have while
And his
watching this film?
less successful trading partner, Hot Pants.
Yeah. And no wet dreams while
Still
watching
better than
this
skid
film.
mark.
Still better than Skid
Couple
Mark.
beforehand.
Giggity gaggity me.
All right, so
When Skid Mark comes around, that's when you want wet pants. Cause
yeah, so we learned that okay, there's G.I. Joe. It's an elite group of soldiers. Blah blah blah. Like,
They
all right,
say they are.
yeah. We learned they have access to all this high technology, like optic camouflage and the Delta 9 accelerator suit and all that.
Delta
And-
6.
Or Delta 6, I'm sorry.
yeah, I've got the Delta 9
And then-
accelerator suit.
Yeah. We go over to meet General Hawk here, and we have to figure out what's going on with this case. And because knowing's half the battle, he says. And I'm like, you know what, movie? I'll give you that one. You got my nostalgia up a little bit.
No.
That's
No.
the corniest way in which that line could have been used.
No, it could have been used way worse.
Originally, they had Uncle Ben from Spider-Man coming out and saying it, but
Well, no, that's the other thing. Like, I feel like there was a time stamp of some kind. Like, every 12 minutes, we got to do something. Like, you get the knowing is half the battle, real American
Like a
heroes.
countdown.
I don't even remember some of the other ones, but they're like, yeah, it's just like, okay, in another 12 minutes, we'll get the next drop. I think there was one about the Kung Fu grip. Like, oh, Jesus, guys.
I did not notice any of
they
that.
worked that. Yeah, they worked that. Like they jammed it into
Yeah.
the scene. It's like when Marlon Wayans is first meeting the rest, like the G.I. Joe team.
The
or
Joe
whatever,
team on the plane on the way to the base.
He
Oh, I
reaches
forgot
out
about that.
He reaches out. He grabs that dude's hair.
He was going to touch, the other black guy's
Yeah,
hair.
it's,
I forget
Heavy
what
duty?
he said something really.
He said like, "Oh, you have like real feel hair,"
Oh,
and I'm like,
No.
"You just." That's how you do. That's what you go for.
Well, that was when he
And
was
then he's
all like
"And the
morphined
Kung
up.
Fu."
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the guy grabs his hand like, "Don't touch my hair," and then he's like, "Ooh, and Kung Fu grip."
You told me on
Yeah.
TikTok that's racist.
you know, now that you mentioned it, I remember hearing that. I don't remember recognizing what those were, and
It's
I
because
wish.
they used to have real hair and Kung Fu grip.
Yeah.
And someone
And no
was like,
penis.
I can definitely get this line in the movie without it sounding creepy as fuck. And they did not.
No,
They did not.
this guy's sitting there typing up the scripts like
This is how I met my girlfriend.
Right.
So
he just grabs his head.
so now
Makes a comment about his hair feeling real.
this McCullen guy, the weapon manufacturer, he checks in holographically. He's like, all right,
Dude, there's like no real person in this movie.
No.
Everyone's a hologram.
he's like, all right, put in the code so I can open the case and like holographically touch the warheads to know they're okay.
Cause yeah,
Yeah.
Sure.
Because
So
cause movie.
Now, I will say currently you do have remote capabilities that are kind of like that without the hologram. But anyway.
So, what we don't know is that's actually because he's a bad guy. That was activated the code that reactivated the tracker on the case. Because beforehand, the tracker on the case was shut down by Breaker, who was smart enough to know that the case would have a tracker they'd be going after. So now the tracker is reactive, and I'm like, what the fuck is the transmitter on this tracker? They're like a mile underground.
Yep.
Like, where's this signal going?
They're a mile underground and also underneath a tank that's big enough to hold attack submarines
Yeah.
fighting each other.
Yep. So, anyway, so now McCullen's like we see he's on a plane with a hologram of Baroness. And he's yelling at her for not getting the things because the warheads because he's like it was supposed to look like NATO fucked up.
Get me a sandwich.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I want to touch you, but you're a hologram. And Storm Shadow's like, yo, I'm in the room. And then Zartan's like, yo, I'm in the room.
Zartan's
But
like,
keep going. Yeah.
yeah, Zartan is just like, keep
Yeah, don't
stop. for me.
worry about me.
I want you to know I'm here,
Storm
but I
Shadow.
want you to stop.
This is just like an emo K-pop guy.
All right, so we're like, okay, there's our Cobra bad guys. They go over to this Cobra undersea base. And I'm like, it's dumb as hell, but in the G.I. Joe sense, it checks out. Because Cobra had all kinds of shit like that on the G.I. Joe show. It makes no sense in real life where it's like, you built that under the ice caps.
Nobody
without
knows.
no one noticing.
I really wish they had said, "Oh, it's under the Antarctic ice caps." That would have been perfect.
So we see now at the time what I thought was a trash version of Dr. Mindbender, because I'm like, it's Dr. Mindbender. Why doesn't he have a curly mustache? They didn't say what his name was at all. So I'm like, okay, he's got to be Dr. Mindbender because Dr. Mindbender did this stuff. But he doesn't have a curly mustache, and he looks like...
He does have the monocle.
He has the monocle coming out of his face mask, but he looks like a Keanu Reeves kind of, and I'm like, that's not Dr. Mindbender. Turns out it was not Dr. Mindbender.
Are you talking about Gary Oldman, Joe?
Well, I'm talking about the shrivelly guy.
Yeah, who is very clearly Gary Oldman.
Adam Driver.
Despite somehow not being Gary Oldman.
Each of us recognized him as somebody else. See, I saw the hair, and I'm like, that's Keanu Reeves. But anyway.
I do see it with the hair.
I saw Gary Oldman, and I said that looks like Gary Oldman.
I agree. But I do believe they also, I guess, just to add to the confusion, because I believe, as Rob mentioned, this probably wasn't, definitely an intentional thing. But I believe they just keep calling him the Doctor.
Yeah. So we learn about the Viper soldiers, the first batch of them, through nanotechnology and intense mental reprogramming. They are immune to fear, immune to pain, immune to morality, immune to remorse, and they can be bitten by cobras and force the poison out with their nanites.
With their mutant healing factor.
So
Just
they
cobras.
don't, but the mutant healing factor doesn't push out bullets. We find that out later. Those kill them fine. Just in case they ever need to get bit by cobras, they're good.
Yeah.
So
Also to clarify, it is just cobras. It is not other snakes.
No.
It is not like spiders or, if you inject them with anything else.
imagine for a
all.
minute
I think that was supposed to be implied.
But they can
You have
also
the technology
express their own
being an
aliens.
to do these nanotech things. Why would you bother using a body in the first place? You could just make one with nanotech, and then
Because then they would get sued by James Cameron.
Oh, well.
So before, like back in the 80s, when nanotechnology wasn't a mainstream thing, like the bats were, Cobra was like, let's just make a robot trooper that's universal and modifiable and doesn't feel fear, and we can change its weapons around and all that.
Nanotech.
And that's, basically what that would be, with nanotech would be even more efficient. But anyway,
And
so
again, them seemingly getting the idea from the comics, but falling short of what it should be.
So thank goodness that these things, have good body armor, and that G.I. Joe doesn't have a round that consistently can shoot through them. Because,
Stormtroopers.
if you're immune to fear and pain, you don't really have much incentive to take cover, get out of the way, do
be
much
like
of anything.
British infantry during the Revolution.
Yeah. So
Again, is kind of fitting for Cobra.
well, it's that thing when you see everybody making a super soldier and that tired plot line where you're like, you get rid of fear, and I'm like, that's not a good idea. Like, you can lessen it, but like that's not going to work well. Same thing with pain. But anyway, enough nitpicking that, because we have to nitpick McCullen's major plan here.
An hour and 45 minutes more.
Yeah, he's got 3 ICBM missiles there. Turns out a hypersonic ICBM missiles. And he's going to fire them with the nano warheads at Beijing, Washington, and Moscow. And then when the smoke clears, he gets to be emperor because he'll have all the weapons. And I'm like, okay, why are they nanites though? Like, why not just nukes? You could just get nukes easier. But you also have you could build a fucking undersea base. You can't make this nanite missile,
But
nanite warhead.
He's also not trying to be emperor.
He's trying to be
Commander.
He's
the
trying
commander.
to be the commander.
Sure. He's trying to be in charge because he's like, I'm going to be the one with all the power. And I'm like, all 3 of those countries have contingency plans if like their capitals get blown up. But that's just like, it's step 1. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, profit. All right, and now we cut back to G.I. Joe base, and they're going through all these photo scans of the Baroness. And they're like, all right, Duke, it's been fun. You got to go. And he's like, oh, wait, I know her. I know all about her. Like, oh, let me be part of the team.
I hit that, yo.
Yeah, I'll tell you how good she is in bed. Hawk's like, oh, damn it, I want to find out. So let's do that. And
Turns
I
out
want a
she's
David
mid.
Copperfield.
and we turn out that, you know, she's Baroness, not because, like, she was a crazy...
She couldn't have children.
Yeah, not just a crazy Baroness that, like, fell in with Cobra and was genuinely evil like she was in the cartoon.
Nope.
She's a Baroness because she's been on assignment to marry a Baron who has access to a particle accelerator in Paris
For the nanite.
to activate these nanite warheads. So Storm Shadow's there, and he's like, if that guy that you're pretending to be his wife touches you again, I'm gonna kill him.
She actually is his wife. They are married.
Yeah, they are married. Yeah.
That is literally her husband.
And she's like, well, it might be a little hard to do this assignment if you fucking murder the dude before we finish needing him. Then it goes to, we find out that Duke 4 years ago was going to marry Anna. He asks to marry him. And, like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt runs in. You're like, why the fuck are you here? He interrupts the proposal. And he's like, don't worry, it's so much worse than you can imagine. I thought you were just going to be in the past and die. And then she started to hate you and fell in with Cobra. And that was going to be...
No.
I wish it was that bad.
You wish.
And it was even worse. All right, so then Marlon Wayne shows up, and I'm like, why the fuck are you here? Like, why is this flashback happening? I don't care about any of this. Like, just stop.
Because he had to be there to take the picture that caused the flashback.
Yeah,
Right.
so he's like, okay, you can marry me, Channing Tatum, but you can't let my brother get killed. That's the one thing.
My nerdy.
I'll marry you as long
Like
as my
insults
brother,
and-
who happens to be a fellow member of your
Not
elite
understand
group.
the point of the shaking.
It was a little shaking.
All right, so
He's like pretty well decorated too. So as far as I'm aware, you don't get decorated for being shit in combat if you're going to be deployed into the field.
well,
It's a different time.
you know, sadly, some of that happens, but
Yeah, I'm sure.
like it also depends what those medals are for. Like a lot of those you can get just for, you know,
Participation.
essentially being there for a while.
Okay.
But anyway,
Everyone gets a medal.
what you call it? We're now at the training montage where we learn about the Delta 6 accelerator suits. And, you know, I'm like, I saw this in the trailer and I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
But when I saw this part, I'm like, all right, that's reasonable. It's powered body armor. It's got like the Gatling submachine gun hand is dumb, especially now that you know that Cobra is immune to like most small arms fire. Why you wouldn't invest in something with more penetration? You have like a shit rocket launcher
why they
on
got
your other
Scarlet.
arm, and I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll buy that. Then Brendan Fraser shows up. I'm like, why the fuck are you here? And then it's training time.
sensing-
Because this is like fucking. Somebody thought this was like fucking Clue, and they're like, you know what? We don't want people to catch on too quickly to what Joseph Gordon-Levitt is doing here. So let's throw in like 50 other cameos of people. Just throw them off the trail.
You know, Ripcord here, he's got a bit of a crush on Scarlet, and you're like, great, another romantic subplot that I don't give one shit about.
Yeah.
She doesn't either to start.
Yeah. But, and that's the problem, because I'm like, fuck, this is going to go somewhere. This is still 2009. Like, shit.
I mean, I think everybody had a crush on Scarlet and Lady Jack.
I mean, yeah, but, like, I don't care. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not here for
It's-
the romance
Yeah,
stuff.
understand if I don't care who you are. If you're watching a Transformer movie, you don't care about the humans. If you're watching a G.I. Joe movie, you're not there for the romantic subplots. I'm not
not
saying
wrong.
you can't have it, but fucking you know,
I'm
what
watching
you're
a
doing.
G.I. Joe movie. I don't care about anything.
Yeah.
That is the better way to be. but
But
The
like,
cartoon didn't make any sense. I don't expect the movie to.
so, go look at like Aliens, right? Vasquez and Drake, the two heavy weapon guys in the two squads. You could tell they were having all kinds of hot sex with each other, like, you know, they had some kind of romantic thing going on. You could tell that in like 5 seconds by the way they look at each other, and that's all you needed to know about that. And done, move on. And that's it. You know, I didn't need like a whole scene of, you know, these two. Well, Marlon Wayans painfully hitting on her.
This isn't Jim and Pam, all right?
Yeah.
That's not why we're here.
All right, so now we're gonna have a training montage. How can we ruin this? Let's just play a terrible new metal cover of T-Rex's Bang a Gong. Like, just I'm like, movie. Please stop. There's only so much.
And again, the movie said, "Oh, Joe, just wait till
Yeah,
I was so
you
distracted.
hear what we
It's
have
like-
in store for you."
It's like I haven't even begun.
I was so distracted by the training nonsense that
Yeah.
I didn't even notice the music that was set to.
So now they're Joes. They turns out like Ripcord's a really good marksman. Duke's good at getting his ass kicked by Snake Eyes. He finally, I think, just tackles him, and they're like, "All right, I guess that counts." No one ever hits Snake Eyes.
Yeah, because that's not what they were doing during that sparring session.
Yeah.
The teabagging was excessive.
All right. So
But then again, that's what his lips are there for.
That's right.
Aw.
Kiss my nuts.
so now Cobra,
the Blarney
who
Stones.
knows about where the case with the warheads is, they're like, "All right, let's send a team in to get them."
Roll my balls like snake.
And,
eyes in your chin.
I got horribly mad here too. Like, I mean, I don't think I ever was not mad, but so you see like a guy with some camels, and you're like, "There's a seismic disturbance outside. You know, maybe we should check it out." And the guy's like, "It's probably just a regular thing." I'm like, if you're in a fucking underground base, like
In Egypt.
your seismic sensors, like if something was drilling into your wall, you'd fucking know. But anyway, I wasn't pissed about that. I was pissed about, like, you see these little sandstorms go under the guy, and the guy's like, "Whoa, watch out for my camel." And they drill into the walls of G.I. Joe base here in
Only I may drill my camels.
in what, for all intents and purposes, appeared to be Shredder's tunnel boring thing.
That's exactly
So
what
I'm
I
like,
said
wait a
when it was-
minute. So I paused the movie, and I have a pretty good memory of G.I. Joe stuff. So I went and I looked at the G.I. Joe yearbook of all the vehicles by all the year, and I'm like, Cobra never had a drill thingy. You could have at least had a buzz bore or something like the big buzzsaw thing that these. I'm like, you went to a fucking Ninja Turtles vehicle
Yeah. So at this point,
instead of a G.I. Joe
at this
vehicle.
point in the movie, we officially have one Ninja
One
Turtle
Ninja
vehicle
Turtle.
and 0 G.I. Joe vehicles.
And one Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
The other thing about that scene that I had written a while back, I'm going to stop noting all of the things that don't make any logical or technical sense. But you would think a base like this would have people in it round the clock more than just like a guy patrolling a completely empty storage room.
No, everybody's in their bunks.
Yeah.
It's sleepy time. There's no.
Yeah.
There's no.
No patrols. There's no watch. There's no rotations. Yeah. Anyway.
You have 2,000 people in your base. Why would you have, them doing anything?
They're all on the base. We're secure, right?
Yeah. Complacency, I guess, is taking over G.I. Joe. Because they get in here no problem. Storm Shadow is just walking and he's swinging his sword. And you're like, what are you doing? And like a guy just dies from behind a pillar or something. And like, that guy sucked. Because like a dozen things just bored a hole through the wall. Like,
No alarm raised.
yeah.
He was hiding.
Yeah. He's
No,
like, that was
no.
it. Like, did you
I'm the
just
only guy
cower?
on duty. Fuck this. I'm hiding.
Walkie-talkie, nothing.
He was hiding from the camera and not Storm Shadow. I don't know how that works.
Then I'll let the chick with the dead space gun get it.
Yeah,
So-
again, I think that was just a, Somebody was like, you know what would be really cool? We see Storm Shadow just do a bunch of moves and then a body falls. Isn't that awesome? And it's like, yeah, that is awesome. Does it make any sense? Nope. But nobody thought about that shit.
You're almost there to my explanation for this whole movie. Almost there. Almost there.
All right, so
Your explanation is, does it look cool? Doesn't have to make sense? Because, yeah, that's like every one of these fucking things or Michael Bay
we'll get
things.
to that.
And, yeah.
Let Joe...
So Hawk's in his office, and he's got this like blonde corporal secretary lady, and she comes to the door, and she's like, General, I have a sword for you. She gets fucking run through. And then Storm Shadow comes in and just full like unleashes his ninja fury on Dennis Quaid, who's just like, I don't know, and just dies. Well, he gets slashed and he hits the panic button that sets off the alert.
Yeah.
But we see
His life alert goes off.
yeah, Zartan also by this point is dressed as a guard.
Because Zartan's only power in this movie is to just put on other people's clothes.
Yeah.
He's like a kind of out of shape
So,
hitman.
In the show, they never explained how it worked, but he could just morph his appearance to look like something else.
Well, didn't he put
and then-
like magic makeup on or some shit?
Maybe. And then sunlight hurt him.
Well, you know.
But, you know,
I can
you got
relate to
shape-shifting
that.
powers, maybe sunlight hurts you. That's fine, you know.
Sure.
The toy can turn blue when it's in the sun. We got to explain it
We
somehow.
can really kind of relate.
Yeah.
Did it actually turn
Our
blue?
Yep.
shapes
Yeah.
definitely shift
Why?
where we sit.
Because somebody figured out that technology, so they were like,
Yep.
let's make a toy that can do it. And then they told the writers of the show that we have a toy that can do this, so you have to figure out why he turns blue.
Oh,
Like,
boy.
the creative cycle was literally going in reverse
Yeah,
from
that's
how it should go.
how that stuff goes.
There are so many CEOs that have just spawned from that kind
Yeah.
of decision-making process.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Again, that is one of the things I kind of added appreciation to Transformers was literally they were like, we have a Japanese toy we want to bring to America. We're going to make a cartoon of it. It needs a story. So they just handed it to a guy and said, do something.
Yeah.
And like the fact that we got something as coherent as what we have is a miracle.
Well, that guy was like, does it have to be good? And they were like, no. Don't worry
Oh,
about
I
it.
don't think they said one way or another. They were just like, here's a thing, have it on my desk by Monday. And he was like, how about Autobots, Decepticons, and blah, blah, and like, yeah, just fuck, good for him.
What you got, John?
Do you want to hear Zartan's
Yeah.
profile? All right. Zartan.
Pronouns. Here's Zartan's pronouns.
Zartan, he's most of the time he's a he/him, but I think he could be a she/her too.
It's
might
a they
be-
them.
It's a they them, yeah.
It might all be on there because I'm guessing you just pulled up his Tinder profile.
Yes, it's Tinder. No, this is
Grindr.
this is the Wikipedia.
Yes, both.
Zartan is a master of makeup and disguise. Very little is known about his background,
Like the
but he's
Nightman.
suspected to have received European military academy training at Saint Cyr, C-Y-R. I don't know. Zartan can alter his skin color at will to blend in with his environment, and is a
Predator.
practitioner of several mystic arts and martial arts.
Such as pretending to be a statue.
He is also a ventriloquist and a polyglot, speaking over 20 languages and dialects, and an acrobatic contortionist.
All right.
Have also been known to use holographic technology and other means to disguise.
So, Zartan just fucks off from this movie.
He puts
for a
on
while.
another hat.
He literally, his entire purpose in this movie is to set up the sequel.
Yeah.
He's Dana Carvey, just being a little turtle man and running the fuck away.
Yeah, he dressed like a guard ostensibly to get Storm Shadow to Hawk's office, but that's not even clear. And then he's gone. He's like, well, my work here is done. I'm out.
As soon as he killed that girl, like, he
Actually-
fucked off.
Yeah, now that you mention it, so that whole scene, he put on a soldier's disguise to walk down the hallway that Storm Shadow and the Baroness
Already
walked down
cleared.
without any
Yeah.
problems somehow unseen.
So,
All right.
He was just having fun. He was playing dress up.
Sure.
all right. So the alarm's going off now. So now a fight's on. We're going to get an action scene here.
You
And
think we're going to get an action scene.
Well,
Well,
We're gonna get a scene. I'll give props to Heavy Duty because he's like, I'm the guy with the guns and the explosives, and those don't seem to work well against the Vipers. But what I'm gonna do is like, I'll go right to the vehicles they use to get in here and just blow those up.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. Good plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Smart guy.
And then he's like fighting a Viper that's like, I can't really shoot you, but reacting to things isn't really your thing, so I'm going to just put a hand grenade on your neck. Blow your fucking head off.
Still reacts, though.
They're not
Very
afraid.
much looks like he was afraid.
But no,
Yeah.
he can't feel fear, but he could scream when he's got a hand grenade around his neck.
He's just, he didn't want to be a disappointment, fail his
He
mission.
was frustrated.
Well, not to jump ahead here, but we do find out that I guess some extreme cases can break this mind control or whatever. So I guess having a grenade shoved into your neck might be enough to break the mind control.
Yeah. So now, like, Storm Shadow and Baroness are like, okay, we got to get out of here. Storm Shadow's like, I'll just parkour over this rail. And Baroness is like, why do you think I could do that? I'm instead going to use my fucking stupid pistol to shoot like the catwalk down so it falls in a ramp so I can Legolas slide down the fucking thing in a bad special effect that she clearly didn't do.
And again, why?
Why? Yeah.
She had those shoes with the little wheels in the heels. That's
She had
what-
Heelys, yeah.
Heelys.
She's Heely down there.
No, she could have, but they didn't fucking do that. They CGI'd it.
At least when Legolas did his stupid slide on the shield down the stairs, Orlando Bloom was on wires and had a shield taped to his feet.
That's kind of cool.
Like this. It was just like, no, that just CGI it, whatever.
Phone it in.
Yeah. So everything's exploding. Marlon Wayans kills one of the Vipers by running him through with a forklift.
That was pretty badass.
yeah.
I gotta say. I like that.
Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are fighting. Scarlet and Baroness are fighting. Heavy Duty decapitates a man with a hand grenade. A Viper's walking up to do something, and Duke's like, "You dummy!" and he shoots this bandolier of hand grenades on the ground that explodes and throws this man across the room onto like a bunch of electrical wires, and he gets electrocuted. And I'm like, I guess he's a dummy because he didn't know hand grenades explode when you shoot them. Hand grenades don't explode when you shoot them. So Scarlet now uses her active camouflage invisibility to escape a grapple. Like probably the
remember
worst
that,
situation
The one
to use
thing
that tool.
won't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Every time, it's always like hand-to-hand combat. Or like,
I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone knows if you can't see it, you can't touch it.
Yeah, it's like you're literally, your arms are around her, choking her with a chain. Like, you just go, oh, she's not here
She's
anymore.
gone. Where'd she go?
Where'd my sense of touch go?
Like, I kind of feel like I got the idea of what they were trying to go for. And that she was on her way to escaping from the grapple and then activated it. But, like, that was so poorly executed, even I thought it was dumb.
Yeah. I really hope that would have just ended with, like, we cut to later in the battle and people are walking around and then somebody just goes like, boom, boom. Oh, what the hell was that?
But no, it works for about
Where's Scarlet?
5 seconds.
Baroness just gunks her with something.
Yeah.
It's like a bucket of oil or
Yep.
something.
Active camouflage canceled. Then Baroness just beats her ass, just punches her out, fucks her up. Storm Shadow's like, I'll use this random jetpack thingy, which, in fairness, G.I. Joe had a ton of random jetpack thingies.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's perfectly acceptable.
I couldn't pinpoint it, but I'm certain this was based on some damn
It was
toy.
also, like,
Well,
totally unnecessary
Silver
for you
Hawks.
to use that in that situation.
No, yeah, actually, I take that back because based on everything else, this is probably based on a Silverhawks or Ninja Turtle toy as well.
No, but there were G.I. Joes that came with their own jetpacks. There
Oh,
were
yeah.
jetpack vehicles. There was a Cobra Viper that literally just had a backpack with a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, just, they didn't care. So,
Cared about that money.
yeah. So Baroness just like grabs onto Storm Shadow's foot or whatever. Like, I don't know, the backblast from his jetpack, that'll be okay.
That's fine.
It can carry 2 people, that's fine.
Also,
It's like just like a hairdryer. you
Yeah.
know,
yeah,
it'll
and
be
this
fine.
won't make us slower or a big
She's-
target or
no.
anything. No.
he's used to getting blasted in the face.
But before, like
from his ass.
Duke was fighting a Viper and throws him down this big elevator shaft. And then Baroness, a terrible CGI Baroness, flies by and like beans him with the case of nano warheads and knocks him like
You're just going to
theoretically
say with the queso.
down it. Well, yeah, she gave him the clap, but no, knocks him down into this elevator shaft, or so you think. And then they fly up the main entrance elevator shaft, and the doors open. And you,
Yep.
like the alarm's going off. Why the fuck is that? Like it's closing now, but like that shouldn't take like
G.I.Joe.
20 minutes to close. Like
Because Zartan just went through there. That's
yeah,
why.
like
couldn't find the
maybe
guy with the
Zartan
key.
opened it because we don't know how the fuck he got out.
Oh yeah. Also, I think we jumped over this, but like annoyingly, Duke has them, Storm Shadow and Baroness, at gunpoint, and she just like bullshits her way into getting past him. And I'm
You
like,
won't shoot me. You still love me.
Yeah, I was thinking at that point I would have shot her in the leg. Like I might
Yeah.
like you, but not that much. Or at the very least, Storm Shadow is up for grabs, baby. Shoot him right in the head.
So they fly away onto a waiting Cobra UFO jet. And then you see the camel man who was outside before is now Zartan. And the camel man's been stabbed. And Zartan just walks away with his camels, I guess.
Doing that freaking whistle.
Yep.
I was like, well, I'm out. You know,
Then-
I owed Steven a favor.
Also, like, just all of that just seems to point to Zartan is having a much more interesting movie that we don't get to see.
So,
No, it just occurred to me. Thermal imaging probably pick up somebody who is like heavily makeup. You would see prosthetics show up very easily, but even like a really thick foundation.
Don't worry,
And a base
everybody
like
at
that.
home. I'm going to put this on 1.25 speed in editing.
So we reach a milestone here where after that action scene, like this is last night, I'm like, just like how much more of this movie's left? And I look and I see there's over an hour left. And then I see the next scene is Scarlett like in front of a mirror looking like, you know, I just got my ass kicked. I'm doubting myself. And I'm like, Marlon Wayans better not walk in this fucking room.
Oh, he's gone.
Marlon Wayans walked in the room and I just reflex kicked in. I closed the window, just shut the movie down. And I wrote in my notes, there is an hour, 16 minutes left of this. I don't have the strength. And I went to bed. So whatever they did, I skipped that scene today when I finished watching the movie.
Okay.
So I don't know what was said. I'm assuming it's the don't doubt yourself,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
I will admit that it's not terrible. Like they, you know, both are
It's
good.
cliche as fuck. But
Yes.
It's not
Oh yeah.
poorly done.
It's so unnecessary and cliche as hell. But like the two of them are good actors, and like they, you know, have a nice little moment. If this was a different movie, and I might have given a shit, it would have been a different story. But yeah.
So now we see Snake Eyes just sitting there, and Duke walks by and he's like, what did he say? He says, looks like we're all seeing ghosts today, huh? And then Snake Eyes, it like zooms in on him and it flashbacks to him as a kid.
So the people
China
in
or
this
something.
universe, if you say the right trigger word,
Japan.
they will have a flashback.
Oh, that's right, Japan.
They just immediately go into like PTSD flashback mode.
Yeah.
We skipped over a few of them, but yeah, there is like a weird thing where like if you slap somebody on the back or something, they might just go into a whole backstory.
Yeah, everyone has a trigger warning.
flashback.
You know what it
it's
is? Is everybody's got nanos, and you have to say the right word, and then that sets off a chain reaction of programming. You know,
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, he's
um,
in Japan.
yeah, we see him as a
For
kid,
reasons.
and he's, you know, he's eating his food out of a trash can, and you know, he looks up at this temple, and he's like, "I can go in there. There's probably good food in there.
Yeah.
I'll go
I
break
believe
in
he
there, steal
hears
some
the
food."
dinner bell,
Oh, that's
so,
right.
yeah.
Here's the dinner bell. So he goes in the kitchen, just starts getting his little thief on, feeding himself, and whoever they found here, he gave me a very strong Ernie Reyes vibe when this kid walked in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Ernie Reyes is gonna beat your ass, even though I knew fully that's not Ernie Reyes. But
but he did beat his ass.
yeah.
Again,
So,
they're borrowed from a Ninja Turtles
Honestly,
movie.
like this is not filmed well, but this is probably the best fight in the movie. Like the choreography of these two kids
Yeah.
throwing down, quite good. Like I'm interested in this fight. I wish it was filmed so I could like see all of them in the frame. But
Having said that, I love the way that this ends up playing out, and love and sarcasm, because thief enters, Ninja Kid sees Kid, says thief, and then proceeds to cause way more damage to the food and the larder and the fixings than the thief would have.
Storm Shadow has some issues. He's
Several.
yeah.
It's the principle of the thing to begin with.
The principle is he was taking the food, so we should protect the food.
No,
destroying the food.
That wasn't his food, so he was stealing it.
Yeah.
So Storm Shadow was totally like, I can throw this food straight in the garbage can if I want
I'd
to.
rather
It's
piss
my
on it than
food.
give
my
it to
food.
you.
Yeah.
You can't steal it.
Yeah.
And he did.
You stole, which is bad, and your life is forfeit. That's it. It's just
Also,
that's how it is.
the food is also for
Piss all
yeah,
over
it
this entire buffet spread rather than give
Just
you
so
a,
you can't have one grain of rice.
because
You
you're a
don't
thief
piss on
and a cur.
hospitality.
He called him a cur.
And a cur, yeah. Straight up racism.
Has that ever occurred to you?
So like the master of the temple's like, yo, he's just hungry.
Also, this is a monastery.
Yeah. You guys.
Do you recognize him without seeing his taint? Sorry.
I'm sorry.
What?
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 I was wondering if you recognized him without seeing his taint.
Recognize who?
The master's Jared Akamura from Samurai Cop,
Oh. No,
where
I
you
didn't
get to
know.
see a lot of his taint.
Okay.
Any percentage of his taint.
Yeah.
All right.
More
So
than desirable.
now, what is even happening? Oh, so we cut back to McCullen again. He's
Macaulay
telling
Culkin.
people about the Destro mask, how it was used on like one of his ancestors for selling weapons to both sides. He's like, you know what the moral of that story is? And Baroness is like, don't sell weapons to both sides. He's like, don't get caught. Oh, we're going to use one of these nano warheads on France because they did this to my ancestor. And Storm Shadow's like, that's cool. I have a ninja star that's a fidget spinner.
Yeah, that's great.
I caught the same thing.
Like, God damn it. Why?
He was bored listening to him
Really
chatter
helps
on.
me combat the zoomies.
Yeah. Yes. Like, you have to listen to long meetings of McCullen just prattling on. So he needs a fidget spinner to ground himself. All right. So now Zartan is like getting into some experiment done to him.
He's getting his
by the
Botox.
doctor. Yeah, he's getting Botoxed. And yeah, his
The
face
mummy
is starting to
again.
recontort, and you're like, oh, they're going to make him the president. And now G.I. Joe just figures out that McCollum's a traitor. Just somehow. They're just talking, and they're like, whatever, he's the traitor. We know now. Oh, because he's like, when he had us put the code in, that must have reactivated it. That's the only explanation. So he's the traitor now. Let's go after him. We located the Baroness. She's married to a French baron who's also a scientist in charge of a particle accelerator. So let's go to France, to which Heavy Duty responds with, I like croissants. That was the best they could come up with. I like croissants.
I mean, that was the best thought I had while watching this.
I like croissants.
I like turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very much a I Love Turtles. Again, Ninja Turtles.
Because I mean, there is no other reason to go to France.
Not at all. Well, I mean, food-wise, I'd take chocolate mousse over croissants. But anyway,
My guess is there was something a bit more racist in there, and they were just like, let's find and replace croissants. Done.
so Heavy Duty's like, cool, I get to put on my Blade
I
costume.
like frogs.
Maybe.
And,
It's close to
don't-
turtles.
I like the extra hairy French puss.
So
I didn't want to speculate at what was said. I'm just. Anyway.
Heavy Duty puts on his Blade costume, and Duke has a flashback to, back in East Africa. He's with Joe Gordon-Levitt, and they're like, all right, you're like a battle scientist. Go in that house. It's going to get destroyed in 5 minutes.
His
You have
name is Rex.
4 minutes
by
to
the way.
search it, Rex.
Rex it Ralph.
Go in there. And then, like, the air strike that's going to destroy the building comes, like, way too soon. And he gets blown up. He gets blown up so hard, Channing Tatum gets put on wires for, like, a minute and just dangles there.
Slow motion.
Yeah, it's the explosion's supposed to be blowing him back, but it's sloppy.
There were
Like
so many
what?
things tactically about this scene that upset me that I just put my brain on pause.
I was more upset from the narrative standpoint of does she blame Duke for that?
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the funeral where Duke's like, I'm gonna ride by your brother's funeral in a fucking Harley.
Yeah.
And
the
then look
rain.
at you and drive off.
And then, not stop and say anything.
Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Wasn't a
no,
Harley, it
she's
was
mad
an
at him
Indian.
because that's
Yeah.
a fucking asshole move.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's going to be raining, so you can't tell if I'm
There's-
crying or not.
God, there's so much here. We'll get into it.
All right, so now Cobra begins their assault on a particle accelerator
Our senses.
in France.
The remaining senses that we have.
Yeah, and
Yeah, so they
yeah,
they had to go. She spent, I can only imagine, years getting married to this dude or whatever because, well, they could build this giant underwater base. They couldn't build this particle accelerator. They also apparently couldn't just
Tony,
buy him out, take over his company.
it didn't take her years to get him to marry her.
I'm not saying it took
Even
her
still,
that long, but
There was
took
more
her
effort
3
in this
DMs.
than there needed to be.
yeah, it's
So-
like weirdly complicated
Like
for no reason.
MIT had, I think even UConn had a small particle accelerator on campus. Yale, I think I heard, also had one.
Okay,
Like,
but why
they're-
do you need to particle accelerate
don't.
Yeah,
nanobots?
You don't.
So-
You also don't have a freaking office in the middle of a particle accelerator, and that's not how particle
Just need a
accelerators work.
Wi-Fi signal.
yeah. So, why?
They
So,
should just put these in the
of
microwave.
all the
Do
the
same
things
thing.
this nearly 2-hour movie does, in this movie, a lot of things happen. They're all terrible, but a lot of things happen. Could it have maybe canceled one of the things to tell us why you need to arm these in a particle accelerator?
Nope.
Because that seems to be a huge liability for your weapon system there.
Sama flange.
Yeah.
I can only assume because we, have to fill time to make this a full-length movie.
Because it's cartoon gobbledygook.
So
Like
Baroness.
Starscream, go get the thing.
Even
Yes.
though I hate this entire scene, it still fits into my explanation for
Yeah.
how this movie works.
So Baroness kisses this guy, her husband, and then Storm Shadow kills him, and he's like, I told you if you touched him again, I'd kill him. And she's like, I heard you the first time. And then they're like, we gotta go, because G.I. Joe's showing up. And now G.I. Joe, they're in their Delta 6 accelerator suits.
Delta
But
sucks.
And
that was her
Cobra's-
saying, I wanted you to kill him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And Cobra's like, we're in a Hummer in Paris. How the fuck is that gonna go?
Not a military Hummer.
Nope, just
Nope.
An H2.
I mean, it's pretty much Ironhide because it's a fucking transformer. But so it's Paris. Like, you're not gonna go where's that gonna go? Like,
Through
you're
people.
gonna pull out and just be in traffic, and that's it.
yeah.
Like, so it has a little bulldozer nano thing in the front, and apparently its engine's so hardcore that it can just drive under a car in front of it and throw it
That-
in the air.
That is kind of true.
I mean, if you're on the highway, maybe, but
It would be able to push the cars out of the way. I mean,
certainly.
Once a bunch of them piled up, then no.
But it wouldn't be able to flip them over its entire body
So this Hummer,
20 feet in the air.
this Hummer's pretty badass. I think this Hummer actually could kick Ironhide's ass because it's like it takes missiles, no problem. It's driving over cars. It has weapons popping out of everything like a G.I. Joe vehicle, so that checks out.
No, they just stole it from Mask.
What's that?
Well, no.
No, I know.
They both had the weapons. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Mask,
see,
it would
G.I.
have turned
Joe-
into a fucking boat for no reason.
G.I. Joe would have had a gun turret on the top, and the missiles would have
It
just
did
been
have a gun
outside.
turret.
Yeah.
It did, but it would have there would have been
there
a
from the
man
beginning, just-
easily exposed on the top, with no cover.
Missiles just clipped.
Well, he
off
didn't
his-
need
Yeah,
cover because nobody ever hit anybody else
Yeah.
in G.I. Joe.
So now it's hard to describe how shitty this looks, but Scarlett's on a motorcycle and Ripcord and Duke are in these accelerator suits, and it's like
Oh my god.
they're moving, but they're clearly not moving through this environment, and it's like in video games where you parkour and it's just generic parkour animation, but they never make your hands match up to like handholds or anything. It's just like this clearly isn't happening, but
I believe the phrase for that is uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I know what you're trying to do, but I also know that you have fucked this up somehow.
So finally, go ahead, John.
It's just not quite right.
Yeah. So one of the Cobra goons that's in the passenger seat, he leans out and he's going to shoot at Duke or whatever, and Scarlet crossbows him in the fucking face. I was like, all right, awesome. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But then she, like, Baroness fires her whatever dubstep gun and blasts this whole crater in the road, which causes Scarlet to go flying and get caught by Ripcord.
They have a really fast bang in the middle of the street. You know.
Then
this is also like this whole time, Snake Eyes has gotten himself onto the roof of this Hummer.
The roof,
and the bottom
underneath,
and and multiple other things at the time. But
he's crawling over this like Spider-Man.
Yeah, but starting with he's on the roof and he just starts stabbing into it, and we see Storm Shadow being like, "Oh shit, sword almost hit me," and I'm just like, "Motherfucker, go for the driver."
Yeah,
we'll be done. We'll be done, idiot.
Or like make a little hole in there and drop a hand grenade.
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
Like every G.I. Joe has them on their figure. But anyway,
or for that matter, her little like touch screen activated crossbow. Just have her stationed up the road. Notice any one of the occupants and just be like, kill that one. Magic.
So either way, this Hummer gets hit by a fucking train and gets
thrown
like
through the air. And there's no crossing.
That's right. It's just that I didn't even think about it. It's in the middle of the road.
It's in the middle of a fucking downtown intersection, and it's a fucking bullet train.
There wasn't even like the train crossing sign or anything.
There wasn't even like road markings. There was just nothing there.
No.
I really expected to see
My God, did you see that? The train came out of nowhere.
I expected to see a fucking coyote and like, a painted on tunnel. And
also Paris does not have Paris has subways. The trains aren't going through downtown Paris.
Yeah, they have bullet trains, but they don't do that.
Yeah. All right. So either way, now Storm Shadow and Baroness are fine. They're like, all right, we're a little bloody now, and we're gonna stumble for a few minutes, but we're fine.
We have plot armor.
Yeah. Cool. So now it's up to Ripcord and Duke in their accelerator suits that could run as fast as a Hummer to chase them down. Yeah, and
again, just why with these things? Like I said while we were watching it, like this movie's about G.I. Joe, and we take a moment just to like turn them into Mega Man for no reason.
Yeah, and we couldn't have used the G.I. Joe vehicle here. Like, as stupid as it would be, the G.I. Joe helicopter that the tail turns into a claw and can like grab vehicles and pick them up.
That would have
I would have rather have seen that.
Yep.
Or I don't know, maybe just use this time in general for fucking whatever, to have soldiers being fucking soldiers, not goddamn weird superhero shit.
So anyway,
or coordinate with the Paris police, set up roadblocks.
I enjoyed watching an H2 wreak havoc on downtown Paris.
So
it's everything I wish I could do while driving my H2 around town here.
All right, so Baroness here, she's like, I'm gonna go into this train station or mall or whatever, go up to the roof with the controls for this warhead. And Storm Shadow arms the warhead on a rocket launcher, and he's gonna fire it at the Eiffel Tower. So Duke comes in this full set of body armor, crazy power armor thing. And Baroness is like, well, I have an MP5. My dubstep gun's been wreaking havoc this whole movie, but I'm not going to use that. I'll use the MP5. And that doesn't do anything. She's like, oh, yeah, I have the dubstep gun. And that knocks Duke through a fucking building. And it's like, why didn't you just use that first? So,
because shooting the MP5 is fun.
Yeah, I guess.
All sense of security.
Also, does not shoot him. Shoots his comically cartoon, whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. That's jumping around like a goddamn wildcat.
So he catches up to her again on the roof, which is all glass windows, and she's just like, I'll just break all the windows with the power of dubstep.
Yeah.
And she hops on the plane that Storm Shadow, he fired the rocket at the Eiffel Tower. He got tackled by a ripcord, and I forgot how he escaped. Oh, he threw spaghetti sauce on the view screen of the accelerator suit and stopped it that way. And for enough time for him to escape onto the convenient Cobra UFO jet that keeps picking them up. Now they have the warheads. The warhead has hit the Eiffel Tower, covers it in the green shit.
Yeah, fuck that. Take that, France.
Yes. Suck on that.
Fuck your Eiffel Tower.
And
do you know what the original purpose of the Eiffel Tower was?
what was the original purpose of the Eiffel Tower?
I am not making this up. I got this from my history of photography class in college. The original idea was they were going to put a giant fucking light bulb on top of the tower so that all of Paris was illuminated.
Well, yeah. Well, Paris was the first city that was electrically lit up. They didn't really...
It's a lamppost.
Yeah, the night vision
Giant eye of Sauron.
Yeah, well, that was a thing that... Like,
with a beret.
There's a few other European cities that have those, because that was a thing they were trying, because they're like, do we do a lot of little lights, or just do one big fucking light and call it a day?
Because crime went down when they started doing...
Yeah, street lights.
Street lights,
Although I would kind of love just everybody, like, walking around like zombies with that on, like, I can't sleep ever.
You just live next to it.
Yeah. Fucking
Plus,
like moths.
back then, that would be a giant incandescent light. You imagine the heat it would throw off. It'd just be like another sun.
So, all right. The Eiffel Tower is getting all nanited by the green shit. And Duke does this flying, like, Raiden move into the Cobra jet to hit the little button that turns the nanites off. So Paris is spared, other than the huge amount of damage that the Hummer and G.I.Joe caused, go chasing them. And they're like, all right, Duke, well, we captured you now because you took your helmet off like an asshole.
Well, he stops it, the nanites from eating through the middle of the Eiffel Tower, but not before the whole Eiffel Tower just collapses.
Yeah.
Destroys like half the city anyway.
You got to destroy the Eiffel Tower if you're in Paris. That's just... Everything ever has done that.
I mean, honestly, of all the targets, I'd be the most okay with that getting hit.
Okay.
Because all of the other ones, you can't easily rebuild. All the art in the Louvre, all that other stuff. Like, you want to go after the Eiffel Tower? Okay, go ahead.
So anyway,
just cut off France's penis.
Now I can't help but not think. When I was at Paris, right? Paris is designed so there's two tall structures. There's the Eiffel Tower, and there's this one skyscraper way at the other end of Paris, and all the other tall buildings are in suburbs. So there's the Eiffel Tower, and it's this big, majestic metal tower. But in a lot of European cities, they have billboards that are the size of like the whole fucking building. They just put like a decal over the building. So the skyscraper in Paris, it was this giant baby. And it said something in French, but I don't know what the message was. But it was this giant, like, angry-looking baby and following you wherever you go. Because Paris, there's all the buildings are like 2 or 3 stories, except for those two. So anytime you look in that direction, there's just a giant baby or a giant incandescent bulb holder. Those were your 2 choices to look at.
I think that skyscraper is the reason no European city, other than that, has skyscrapers. Because everybody was like, this is fucking awful. And they ended up leveling like historical buildings for that thing. And they were like, we're not doing this anywhere else in Europe.
All right, so now G.I. Joe gets arrested, rightly so.
Yep.
Yes and no.
But before they get arrested, they jam 2 electrodes in a Viper's head. And they're like, don't worry, we can just read the electricity in his brain, see the last few things he remembered. It's a thing. I could look at it on my smartphone. I got.
Don't worry. I saw this in Wild Wild West.
Really cool science news that literally just came out today. Somebody was able to do an experiment where they were able to broadcast someone's brain listening to a song. So they were able to transcode the neural signals of that person perceiving the song and play it out on a computer. That was freaking cool.
I would have laughed if it was just like all they got was this guy like petted his dog back at Cobra Base. And he's like,
Or beating it.
he's like, I'm going to get you a new toy. And, you know, I'll play with you when I come back. And then you're just like, fuck.
I want to split the difference. I really want it to just be like he's at Cobra Base, just on the shitter looking at Reddit or something. Just like several minutes of him scrolling slowly.
But it's all dog pics.
With with the occasional just like...
Yeah, he's like, I should get a dog.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, now the cops show up and arrest them. But the dead Viper, the electrode brain memory scan thing doesn't work as long as it should because the nanites inside him eat him. Mm-hmm. And now they're in French prison, and Hawk wheels in on a wheelchair, recovering pretty well from his katana wounds.
They're not just in French prison. They're in like the
They're in, like,
imaginary
prison.
glory prison.
In
That,
Oubliette.
yeah, they're in something.
Yeah.
They're in Magneto prison.
Hawk
I was
shows
just
up,
about
he's
to
like,
say the
"All right,
prototype for Magneto's prison.
you guys are getting sent back to your home countries. You can't go to Paris ever again. Rightly so.
We're going back to the pit, even though
Yeah.
Cobra should have pit, but we're not.
Yeah, I kind of wondered about that.
So Storm Shadow flashes back to
Because that's where all the...
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want the... Maybe
So-
that's how they were able to break into our base so easily.
Storm Shadow flashes back to at the monastery, him fighting Snake Eyes, and he's beaten him a bunch of times. And then finally, Snake Eyes like, I could beat you if you use swords and I use Tonfa. And Storm Shadow gets real pissed because the master's like, Storm Shadow, you're too fucking brutal. Just calm down. Snake Eyes over here, he's calm, he's cool, he's disciplined. And Storm Shadow's like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking murder you.
Yep.
Run off and stab the master.
Welcome to the dark.
Why not?
And then ran off. Yeah. All right. So now on the tarmac, where the G.I. Joes are supposedly going back to the pit. They're like, all right, we can. Who was it? Was Euclides or whoever the guy was from Europe that figured out from Egypt that figured out the Earth was round by looking at shadows. They're like, we can look at one shadow and figure out where this guy is in the whole world.
That
So
is
he's in
actually a
Antarctica.
real thing. Mm-hmm. They do that in open source intelligence.
Yeah. So
It's not quite that easy.
Geometry.
they figure out he's in Antarctica. So General Hawk's like, all right, you do have to go back to the pit. But, I didn't say when or how, what route you could take. Just go fuck off and take care of that.
Okay, we're gonna go the southern route. See Aruba,
So-
Cancun.
Now, at the Cobra base, Duke shows up with the Baroness and Storm Shadow. And
And they fuck.
this is a three-way bang session. Right there, right in the Arctic. Like,
Right in the ice.
Yeah, in front of two Vipers. No
And all
fear,
of the
no
nanobots.
remorse.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so
I didn't gay in a three-way.
with a honey in the middle, there's some leeway. So,
They need somebody to hold the camera.
yeah. You see the Sky Raven and you're like, oh, shit, that kind of looks like the Sky Raven. That's the first thing that looks like an actual G.I. Joe vehicle. Except the Sky Raven, looked like the SR-71 and this thing looks like a turd. So Duke makes this half-hearted attempt to escape with the case, and Storm Shadow thwarts this by throwing his fidget spinner at him. And then, the rest of the Vipers just beat Duke's ass. And all of these people are like, why would you even try that? That's so dumb.
Dumbass.
None of
Stupid
them check
American.
what he did with the case.
No.
Luckily, this tracker technology, the transmitter on this that can transmit through a mile of Earth, can also transmit through the polar ice caps
Through
and all
the
that
Earth.
water. So, I guess turnabout's fair play.
It's using public satellites. It's using Starlink.
Yeah, it's fun. Again, he wanted to make sure this was technology he believed we'd have within the next 10 to 20 years, and yet I can't even get my fucking cell phone to work in my apartment.
So they take this elevator down to the underwater base.
Because your
under the ice
apartment
caps.
is a mile underground.
Well, there's that.
And then
The pit.
Baroness comes out of the elevator and smooches McCullen, and Duke's like, I'm gonna fucking headbutt you. And then the sounds of the Vipers whooping Duke's ass triggers flashbacks in the Baroness to remembering happy times with Duke.
Yep, she's got a couple things wrong with
Yeah.
her.
And then it's just like robot fish.
Robo tuna.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, sure.
Ill-mannered
We'll just
robo
turn to
tuna.
that.
Also, I'm sorry, because this is generally my thought at the time. The only thing I could make sense with the flashback scene is the sound of his grunting reminded her of them having sex.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes any
That's the
sense.
trigger.
Yeah.
You're just getting those cheeks clapped, you know?
So, yeah, the robot fish, it's just sneaking along with its glow spines and everything in a school of other normal fish. And they're like,
a normal fish.
oh, there's Cobra's big base. Oh, there's 3 missile launch tubes. So Hawk's like, let's get this big-ass sub and we'll send all the G.I. Joes there.
Because that's not going to be a problem later, being a giant fucking target.
So
It's a twap.
the, whatchamacallit, the nanite warheads, the 3 remaining ones, are loaded on 3 hypersonic missiles, and they're launched at Beijing, Washington, and Moscow. While the G.I. Joes now arrive on some like jet ski vehicles that I don't think those were actual G.I. Joe vehicles, but I think they had something like that. I would have liked if they had the fucking the stupid G.I. Joe vehicle that had missiles on skis. It was the dumbest thing.
That
But I
would
wanted
not work
I
well.
wanted my ski missiles.
Skissels.
I could be wrong, but I think this is supposed to be that thing. If
Well,
I
no, that
remember
was a big
correctly.
tracked vehicle with it had a big missile launcher on the top, and it.
Well, okay, I could be getting a couple confused, but I know there was a snow-based vehicle that had like 2 pods for the drivers that came off to become things very much like what they had here.
That's that I think is a Cobra one.
Was that kind of,
I don't know. I'd have to look
again?
it up.
Yeah, I haven't.
Either
Not
way.
things I haven't thought about in like 20 years. So
So, at this point now, Duke has been handed over to the doctor. And the doctor's like, Mars Industries, the one that makes these weapons, the nanite warhead, supplies 70% of the world's weapons. I'm like, no, it doesn't. No, it does. The United States does that. Like, no, but no one supplies 70% of the world's weapons.
also, I really wanted Duke to just go. Mars makes candy.
Yeah.
like futurism wise.
70% of the world's candy bars?
Yeah. Futurism
That's
wise.
Mexico.
They do talk about this in like Blade Runner and the Alien franchise. Like, if that does even start becoming reality,
Yeah.
that is a very bad sign
Yeah.
for humanity.
So,
So look forward to that in the next 10 years. Or something?
I mean, that is entirely possible in the next 10 years.
the missiles get launched, and the Joes
Maybe
are
not
standing
10
there
years.
looking at the missiles taking off through the ice, and they're Snake Eyes is like, "Oh, we have these little sled things that have missiles on them. Just shoot one down with that. That totally works."
Yeah. And I'm
That-
thinking,
that
why
little-
didn't you shoot all of them?
That little short range like Stinger missile or whatever catches up to a fucking ICBM launching straight up.
I mean, it
shoots
hasn't
down.
reached terminal speed yet, but
Yeah, but it's going pretty damn fast.
yeah.
Anyway, so all right, they shoot one down, so the Beijing one's taken care of, but we still got to find a way to take care of the other 2. Meanwhile, now the doctor's talking the good shit to Duke, actually, before that happens, Ripcord's like, "Oh, I'll get into the Sky Raven and take off. I could fly anything." Scarlet's like, "Well, I'll give you a kiss for good luck or whatever," and he flies off. So I'm like, okay, I guess that is a G.I. Joe solution to this problem.
Except how?
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 Oh, well, we'll get to the part where you fire the weapon. That's different. So now it goes back to the lab where the doctor is fucking around with Duke here. He's like, "I'm going to stick you with all these needles."
Acupuncture.
Yeah,
guy.
turns out I'm Rex, because that's even stupider than the story reason we provided before. He takes off his Keanu Reeves hair and he's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And you're
Crispy
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, he also has that like Bane style, like I can take this off, but it's very painful.
And Baroness, she's not just an evil lady. She's not someone that turned evil because she lost her brother. We lobotomized her and nanited her and all that, you know.
Also, again, for those not paying attention at home, her brother, after quote unquote dying, somehow came back, found her really upset, chloroformed her.
Yeah. Instead of saying, "Hey, here I am. I'm alive. I'm horribly scarred and disfigured, but I'm here for you.
And
But no,
Stop being
chloroformed
depressed."
her,
yeah, and the
kidnapped
chloroform
her,
is not an overstatement. That actually is the what he did.
brainwashed her, pimped her out to at least the Baron, possibly more, for
The
X
Baron
amount of
and
time.
McCullough.
Cobra
Yeah.
Commander, CC,
So-
Chris Chan.
So what turns out, I guess, what happened was Rex and Dr. Mindbender were sealed in a bunker together before that airstrike. And whatever Dr. Mindbender what was going to show him was so wonderful that he's like, that's it, I'm pimping out my sister.
Or terrible.
Yeah.
Dr. Genderbit.
Well, he loved his sister when she
Yeah.
was happy. When she was unhappy, fuck it, it's
Yeah.
over. She's already dead. Just use whatever's left of her.
I don't ask a lot, but I ask when the actual Dr. Mindbender is revealed, can he please be bald and have a curly mustache? Can he please look like John when he first lost all his hair? Like, you know, it's just a simple thing. And the movie's like, nope, no, you don't get any of that.
He's this like dessert. I thought he was a victim.
Yeah,
Or like
he's
a
like-
captive or something.
yeah,
He's just so.
But also, it's not even just like he doesn't look like the character we know from the cartoon or anything. He doesn't look anything like any kind of character. He's just a dude.
And he's got
He's
this weird
like a
creeper
homeless
voice.
guy.
He's like, I'll show you some wonderful things.
It's Baxter
Get the
Stockman.
fuck away from me.
Yeah.
They
Looks
saw
like-
Baxter Stockman on the Ninja Turtles.
he looks like
yes, give me
what is it? Brett Garrett's character from Stranger Things.
He looks like a pedophile.
He looks like
He
a
talks
He's been in other
like a
things.
pedophile.
And
Oh yeah, I know.
And
like
all
an
of those
Kevin J.
computers.
O'Connor.
an older version and a very Valium laced version of Carrot Top.
So,
Don't just.
I mean, we're kind of sick fucks here at the 4 a.m. podcast, but I mean,
We are totally wholesome.
it seemed as though the way that scene looked, where he's like, I have wonderful things to show you, he could only imply his dick. Like, that's the conclusion you immediately jump to. Like, it's
See,
Should have been played
this
by
whole time,
Phillips.
Joe, nanotechnology was a synonym
Oh,
for
that's
his
right.
dick.
Yeah. It's like, I can make you a vagina.
Yes. See, I was thinking more. Oh fuck! What's that movie? Damn it! Now I can't remember. Not Reanimator. The other.
Clerks?
No.
What?
Jesus Christ!
Okay. Just start naming movies, guys.
Whatever.
The Hunt for Red October.
No, I was thinking the movie was
The Notebook.
Jeffrey Combs, where like he takes a bunch of drugs and it causes
Oh, yeah,
little
Doctor
thing-
something, right?
no From Beyond. From Beyond.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's what I figured was going to happen. Either way, the point is it's some weird rapey shit that you don't want a part of.
all right. I'm like, movie, I'm so mad at you. Please show me something halfway competent. They're like, okay, check it out. Floor, laser traps, anything larger than a quarter
no, but here's
will get
why.
destroyed. Snake Eyes is like, well, he doesn't say anything, but he's like, I got this. I'll walk on the little points of my fingers across the floor. Because apparently the floor only measures like circumference. Like it doesn't, weight doesn't matter or anything.
It doesn't matter how much weight you
Yeah.
put on, as long as it's within that size.
So then Breaker's like, all right, I'll tell you how to hack the door. And Snake Eyes stabs it with a knife, and that opens the door. And I'm like, thanks, movie. Thanks for making this even worse. It's like, don't worry, you want to see an undersea fighter battle? I'm like, no, I don't. It's like, too bad. Launch the sharks.
Oh.
And then, like, Cobra underwater base is like, launch the stingrays. And neither of those look like the the G.I. Joe shark or the Cobra stingray. But regardless, like they're having fighter plane battles underwater with like machine guns and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, sure.
And fiery explosions.
Let's Star Wars this, I guess. There's a giant pulse cannon. It shoots the sub.
More reboot than Star Wars.
Well, yeah.
Well, and more of the things having World War II style fighter dog fights that shouldn't be having World War II style
I'm pretty sure
fighter
they just
dog
took
fights.
the assets from, what was it, Captain Tomorrow and
Sky Captain Land Tomorrow.
Pirates.
They took the assets from Captain Power.
Well, yeah.
So anyway,
No, even that would have been better.
yeah. All right, the pulse cannon disables.
And again, it's still the wrong fucking 80s toy property, you sons of bitch.
This big pulse cannon at the Cobra base disables the G.I. Joe submarine because I guess torpedoes aren't cool enough.
Why it took them that long to use that in the first place?
I don't know. So now the G.I. Joes, the ones that are in the base, besides Duke, take control of the control room for this base. A man in this control room is holding a pistol, pointing it at the ground with like perfect gun safety as far as like, you know, I don't want to accidentally shoot someone with this, while he screams at the top of his lungs and runs right at Snake Eyes so he can get katanaed. I'm like, all right, I guess. Snake Eyes is being sent off to disable the pulse cannon. Scarlet and Breaker here are trying to disable the warheads. They're the missiles that are flying to Moscow and Washington. Ripcord is flying in a hypersonic jet after the hypersonic missiles, and Heavy Duty's having a fighter battle underwater, and Duke is having a showdown with McCullen and Rex. None of these scenes are cool. Everything happening here sucks.
McCullen, Rex, and Zombie Chick.
Oh yeah, so Baroness came in. What's that?
And the president is being ushered into
Correct.
a bunker.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Which the president is played by Jonathan Pryce, a British man making no attempt to hide that he's British. Somehow the president of the United States.
Also a bad sign for the fate of humanity.
All right, so
Those Brits are going to take us back.
just to wrap that whole plot line up, the president goes in the bunker. One Secret Service dude kills all the other Secret Service dudes, and they reveal like it's a big deal that Zartan has made himself look like the president. And
I admittedly did not see that coming.
Oh,
wow.
I'm slow in a lot of cases, so.
Thought it would be Mystique.
I did. Since it's the same fucking thing that they did in that X-Men movie.
Meanwhile, now Duke, he was gonna get stabbed by all these needles by Rex and turned into one of the Vipers, but Baroness, the sound of him getting his ass whooped, triggered her. She shakes off her programming, kicks Rex, and like frees Duke, makes out with him a little bit. Rex is like, "Yo, I have the button that makes you die right here." Essentially just turns her off. Just hits a button. She's unconscious. McCullen runs in. He's like, "What? How did she shake her programming? That's not supposed to happen." And Rex is like, "I don't know. That's not supposed to happen." And Duke's like, "Oh, I grabbed her fucking dubstep pistol." And so they're having this like standoff. McCullen's like, "I'll break the standoff by shooting you with a flamethrower, like a surgical operating flamethrower, I guess."
Sure.
And Duke shoots the dubstep gun that pushes the fire back into McCullen's face, severely burning him. Because, sure.
In like the best looking scene imaginable that didn't cause the entire room to erupt with laughter.
If it's some kind of a kinetic energy, like pulse wave thing,
It's not.
I could see it sort of being argued for pushing the fire
I
back, but it would
assume-
also create a vacuum behind you and then you'd suffocate.
Yeah, I assume because of the dubstep sound effect that it's a sonic weapon.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Sonic is it's
Gotta
a
go
wave
fast,
going
yeah.
through the air.
So
I
it
already
was
did my Christian joke.
it was so powerful that it knocked the controls to kill Baroness out of Rex's hand. And Rex is like, "Fuck it. I'll take McCullen. I'm just going to go." But at this point, the
I
bad
got
guy
a new
layer is
bitch.
like, "Aren't I supposed to like explode at some point?" The editor's like, "Yeah, just start that now." So it starts blowing up for like no reason.
Explode the ice pack.
That hasn't happened yet, though. Like, because, all right. So now Duke turns Baroness back on. They go to get to their sub and escape. Rex and McCullen escape on their sub, and Snake Eyes reaches the pulse cannon, and he's starting to like he kills the people in charge of that to shut it down. And then we cut to back on the Sky Raven. Ripcord over here, he's got to shoot down the hypersonic missile, but there's no fire controls anywhere in the plane. Mm-hmm. And
I just
for no reason, for no reason, the fire controls are sound activated, and because McCullen's Scottish.
You have to fuck a sheep to make anything work.
Yeah. You have to say the Celtic word for fire.
He's like, don't
First
worry.
of all,
What?
the language is not
Yeah.
called Celtic.
Yep.
Yep.
It's Gaelic.
Scots Gaelic.
Again, we know how to Google, but we're not spending more than 5 minutes to do it. You know what I'm saying? But like, he's like, I'm an expert at aviation or whatever. I'm a great pilot, so I can fly anything. So he gets in this jet, unknown experimental jet. Mm-hmm. It has controls he can use to take off and fly with.
Yeah,
just fine. Mm-hmm. All the weapons, however, voice activated.
No reason.
For no reason.
Now,
I don't know. I'm trying to comprehend why the writer thought this was anything that needed to be in the film. Like, did anyone think this was cool?
targeting with weapons, I would argue, engineering-wise, is a harder problem to solve with automation than flying.
Well, and
so
voice
if you're going to
activation
voice
is a
activate
terrible
something,
trigger mechanism.
If you're going to voice activate something, you'd voice activate the flying part, not the targeting part. Also, you've got a face mask on when you're in high altitude aircraft, or you die. Also, why voice activate if you can do dubstep guns, have brain-computer interfaces? Also, nanotechnology can do that, like, multiple...
It doesn't make sense from a technical standpoint. It doesn't make sense from a narrative standpoint.
No. Well, the narrative standpoint, that part I can kind of explain, which is we need to, the romance we started, we need to have a moment where they work together as a good team. And he can fly, she's smart enough to figure this shit out.
Yeah, and that much more of a reason for it to be right to the last second before they figure out.
They identified those narrative devices. They in no way fulfilled that goal at any means of a success.
And to this day, we still do that shit. So,
So, all right. Now, so he shoots down the one heading for Moscow. These are hypersonic weapons. They're Mach 5. Like, that's fast.
Slow.
Like,
for today's missiles, 5, I think, is slow.
5's the borderline for hypersonic.
Yeah.
Either way, though, if you went to Moscow to shoot that one down, you're not going to Washington and getting the other one. No. Like, it's hitting, like, it's a matter of minutes from when it's fired to when it's hitting.
The only thing that I could think of is that because G.I.Joe seems to be mostly Western oriented, they wouldn't let Moscow know what was going on, but DC would, and would potentially have their Iron Dome kind of deal going on to shoot down theirs.
Nope, they got ripcord.
Well,
Marlon Wayans is their missile defense.
Yep.
So
the way he does this, I do not understand.
I hate the way you do.
So I don't know if you have anything for the Moscow part, but like he gets to Washington.
Yep.
He's like, whatever. I got this. For whatever reason, I'm waiting till I'm like up its ass. He shoots it. Gets on the jet.
Yep.
Fine, whatever. He needs to eject out of the jet.
Oh, you're talking about the nanites getting on the jet?
Sorry, the nanites. He blows up the missile.
Yep.
Nanites get all over the jet. Okay, cool. It's not going to hit the White House anymore. I might. So I'm going to pull up at the last minute and then just fly into space?
Space kills nanites.
Yeah.
Space kills everything.
Was that actually the thing I missed in this, or are you just saying?
Yeah,
That's what the writer said.
Right. That's basically the same as like Iron Man. It's like
Yeah.
you
They
have
freeze.
a cold. You got robots. Get some cold.
Tony, the writer doesn't know that ice floats. Like, I know I'm playing my cards early here, but like space kills nanites.
Nope. Yeah, I'm piecing it together now. Yeah,
Now-
it's nanites. Nanites are a computer program.
Yeah.
Computer programs get viruses. You get viruses from colds. Go up in
Cold,
space.
space is cold. Yeah.
Got it.
Now, I will actually say, tactically, this makes
Please
sense.
stop.
Because you don't want gray goo on the planet. You do want gray goo is the
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
we
do
know.
want
We
it
know. We
where
know
it
what you
can't
call
contact
it.
anything else.
Yeah.
So space is really not a terrible idea to launch those things. You're going to want to deal with that at some point. And as long as you get it into a low Earth orbit, that's kind of on pause as
But
far as your
still-
problems are concerned.
No matter how you slice this, why did he go there? Like, you want to aim it towards space, put a rock on the gas and then bounce. I get you, but like,
He wanted to make sure it was delivered.
I mean, also, like, if it re-enters the atmosphere,
Yeah.
it's destroyed anyway. So,
Well, yeah.
So either way, though, Marlon Wayans doesn't get destroyed when he re-enters the atmosphere.
No.
We get the stupid thing where it's like he ejects and they're like, "Is he alive?"
With a Scott Scalic word.
Yeah, well, of course he has to say that. You can't just pull the fucking handle. So,
Hey, gods!
so he,
But-
yeah.
the keys it's right in there. Just start that sucker up and fly anytime you
Yeah.
want. But
So-
you can't get out unless you know the Gaelic word for fucking eat my ass or whatever.
Yeah.
God
What
damn,
if
I
one
hate
of
this.
those polar bears or something steals that guy's plane? This is how
Or
he
his
protects
Coke.
it. Or his
So anyway,
Coke.
he ejects. They're like, "Did he die?" And he's like, "I told you not to yell at me." And you're like, "I don't care." All right, so we're done with Ripcord.
Shut up.
We've only just begun with Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, though. They're like, "Oh, so remember how we had a halfway decent fight before? Let's fuck that up." They start having a sword fight. You know, they're swinging katanas at each other. They're fighting around the pulse beam controls. They're like, "Let's Star Wars this up a little bit. We'll fight around some big sci-fi thing."
They're also doing
then-
a martial arts fight in the stupid, like, we're doing this to 4-4 time, where every
Oh, yeah.
move we pause and then, like, glamour shot,
So
move, glamour shot, vogue.
Snake Eyes can't beat Storm Shadow in swords, so he uses the tonfa he used to beat him as a kid. But the tonfa have points, so he can spike them.
Swords.
So yeah, he can stab Storm Shadow with them. So Storm Shadow's like, "You stabbed me. I'll stop and take my shirt off."
Right.
Snake Eyes is like, "Proceed. I'll allow it." Then Storm Shadow is like, "Let's make this even stupider. I'll
Take
put both my
cock out
katana
now.
together
Yeah.
to become a double katana sword."
Because Ray Park.
A Dabana.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, is that really what they just did?
John, you're the closest one to a warrior amongst us. Have you ever thought that you know what I need right now? I need two katana that snap together,
Stuck end to end.
end to end. That's the perfect weapon.
No.
No,
I am surprised you were able to say that so clearly with his dick deep into your mouth. What the hell?
What?
I'm saying he's sucking Joe
John
off.
puts it in my ass.
Oh,
He likes to hear me talk.
Yeah, Joe. He likes to say,
And squeal.
Joe, tell me a story.
Yeah, no, I talk through the whole thing. That's how I pretend it's not happening.
It's like, jeez. John's rolling dice on your back.
Yeah, he starts going over, like, character plot points. And
I mean, that's metaphorically how game goes anyway.
I'm gonna expend experience.
I'm going to roll your dice.
Anyway, all right, so you're like, okay, Storm Shadow, so you're basically just committing suicide now.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. Like, surprise, surprise, double katana sword thing doesn't work. And he gets stabbed a lot and falls into the water. So you're like, all right, I'll see you in the sequel, because there's no way, even though you clearly just died and the shock of that water will kill you, there's no way that kills you.
It's very much Darth Maul
Yeah.
falling down the shaft in episode 1.
It's like,
Oh, dear
like what John says. On the one side, the cold will stop you from bleeding out. On the other side, you'll be a popsicle, so you won't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
All-
he's
all-
gonna Captain America this shit. Don't worry.
all the Cobra people are gone at this point.
Yeah.
Who's fishing him out of the water?
Polar bear.
Yeah.
You know who? Robot Fish.
Yes,
There's the
robot
Cobra
fish.
robot fish.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
Cobra.
correct.
Yeah, it has a robot fish
Or
down there. Okay.
possibly Robot Squid or something. I don't know.
So anyway, so now
They should have had a
the GI
robot
Joes
squid.
that are still in the base are evacuating, but there's a sub chase going on where Duke and Baroness, she's back to being Anna now, are chasing Rex and McCullen here, and there's some other they're both in Cobra Stingrays, and there's another like couple Stingrays chasing Duke's vehicle, and this is a perfect GI Joe moment because they're like, I've got something called a LAW, a laser artillery weapon, and GI Joe love their acronyms, and this thing is not a laser artillery weapon at all. It's a fucking like laser grid beam thing that you fly through and blow up. And I'm like, nope, that checks out. That's how G.I. Joe episodes went. And
lasers.
But it only worked for the one.
for the one, yeah.
And once it killed one, then the lasers turned off.
Yeah.
The other two just shot right through.
They're like, Baroness is like, don't worry, I'll rip off Star Wars some more. I got my cool swivel chair gun turret thing. I'll shoot some TIE fighters down. Perfect.
I want her to just scream randomly like Chewbacca.
So, not Destro yet. Rex and McCullen fly through this big stupid door that stops Duke and, the other things chasing them. And so they kind of get away for a sec. So now they get on this other Cobra sub, and this movie's like, let's just put a turd on this shit sundae, like a little, like a corn-filled cherry on top. And
Are you crying?
Yeah.
Have you had enough?
So
Well, here's more.
yeah, Rex injects McCullen with some nanites that give him a metal face, so he could be like Destro, like his ancestors.
So he could look like Henry Cavill in the Justice League.
Yeah, like
The man on the iron mask.
Sure. Like, he just made nanites to do that for this specific occasion. And then he's like, I'm in charge now. You call me commander. And he puts on this fucking, like, insult of a mask. Cobra Commander, like, he's cosplayed all the time because it's not fucking hard. It's just like a transparent, reflective, like, pantyhose egg-looking face shield and a salad helm. That's his mask.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep.
Or you could do the fucking, like, curtain drapey thing that he wore that was just like he was essentially wearing a lampshade with two eye holes, which admittedly would probably look too much like a Klan's mask, so he probably shouldn't have, but they could have done it.
No, well, at the time, that
Yeah.
was kind of the point.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. So it looks nothing like Cobra Commander.
At all.
Nothing in this movie looks like G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So when he puts on this mask that doesn't look like Cobra Commander, and he says, you can call me Commander,
Yep.
what effect is that supposed to have on an audience that's like, there is nothing for me to connect this to?
That is the
What
funny
the-
thing.
Commander.
He's Commander Rex?
He's Commander
Cobra.
Rex.
Like, they don't
Oh,
call him
fuck.
Cobra anything throughout this entire movie.
Well, that's coming in the sequel.
So he's just Commander Rex. He's just a Star Wars now.
Yeah.
Again, that is, you can tell this was someone like furiously
It was
typing
Captain
away.
Rex.
Like, you can call me Commander, and that's when the audience is gonna piece out together what I did, that he's not Dr. Mindbender, that he's Cobra Commander, and they're all gonna get up and cheer. And like, meanwhile, the actual audience that saw it were probably like, "What?
you are right
that?
on the line of understanding.
Yeah.
Ew."
I was
So-
like, that's
movie.
Cobra
Yeah,
Commander.
So
Because he's wearing like one of those big face guards that some people wear now because of the pandemic, and like a swimmer's cap.
Right, but my thing is, like, if you don't know what G.I. Joe is and you just go to this because it's a movie, and he puts on the mask and says, call me Commander,
Yes,
you don't know what the hell the point of that is. Like,
and he says something about alluding to like Cobra Rising or whatever, and then he's just like immediately captured, like
Yeah.
the G.I. Joe sub and like a whole bunch of other
the
sharks
movie
are right
just
there,
ends.
and they're like,
Just
"We
like-
gotcha," and
Yeah,
he's like,
this actually, like, it's arguably a step better than Unbreakable in this respect, at least, because
Yeah.
it reminded me of that where he's just like, "That's right, you are a superhero, but I'm the villain," ha 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 ha, and then it just cuts to text saying like he got arrested and everybody just went home. Like,
Let's
fuck,
say
what? We just
Mo.
got what?
Tap back for a second. I just realized Because I was like, that mask looks like something. You know what it looks like?
What?
Shrink wrap.
Yeah.
If he was the model and it just got pressed against his...
Somebody,
It's a vacuum form mask.
He's got like a 3M like respirator mask without the filter cartridges, and then they wrapped plastic wrap around that. That's his commander mask.
Duct taped like an LED light in there or two.
They were trying to do something with it, but I don't know what or why.
So the rise of Cobra lasted for about 30 seconds, about as long as they walked from the conference room to the bridge and then got captured.
In really high-tech cages.
Yeah, now they're in laser prison.
And they look... And they look like they're in the middle of a gigantic ass submarine that's just been hollowed out for nothing but these two cells.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Anna just seems to be going to regular prison. And they're like, yeah, I mean, it was the nanites, I guess. So, you know.
There's no precedent for this in court.
You're in prison, but you're in like G.I. Joe prison. And at least it's on the fucking flag. And the flag looks like the flag. So I was happy about that. Like, I wanted the flag so bad when I was a kid. But it was the most impractical toy in the world. It was like the size of this table. It was like an actual aircraft carrier. It had like a CB radio kind of loudspeaker thing that you could yell into, and it was so cool. Anyway, so you got to see the flag for a few seconds. I was at least happy about that. And then he's like, later, you know, I know you're in prison, but I gotta go walk in slow motion with the rest of the guys.
For God's
sake. And then Hawk's like, don't worry, you know, you guys are part of the team now. And Ripcord's like, are you cool with this, Scarlet? And Scarlet's like, I don't know, I'm emotional or something like that. And then they get into this
quiver
awful fake VTOL and fly off. We find out Zartan's president, and then we have to listen to the Black Eyed Peas in the credits.
That's who that was?
Yeah.
That song fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Holy crap, I hate. And I like dubstep. That made me mad.
Yeah, all of the songs in this movie sucked. And that's it. That's G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra.
Fuck. Now, I've been teasing this the whole time.
Oh, here we go.
And it's going to go over about as well as the reveal of Cobra Commander.
Go over that while Joe's peeing. So that he doesn't...
Joe's trying to avoid your explanation.
Wait, what are we doing now?
I don't know.
So you had things that you were going to go over, didn't you?
No.
Oh, I misheard you. I thought you said that you
this
you were
is the
going to
part
go over
where
something.
you started saying something, and now...
You said you were going to give your explanation.
Yes,
I said it was going to go over about as well as the reveal of Cobra Commander.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying I was going to go over something. Okay. So, all right. Imagine that you have a really, really, really smart, enthusiastic, imaginative, creative 5-year-old. And you've just introduced them to G.I. Joe toys. And you're like, tell me what's happening. Give me the plot that you've come up with. If you watch this movie thinking as if you're actually watching a kid play with the toys, it all makes sense.
This is the
this is the big reveal.
grand theory, yeah?
But see, I've had that thought while watching this, and while watching Transformers, and while watching certain Ninja Turtle movies, and I still come to the same conclusion of it's shit, and I don't care.
I didn't say it was good. I just said this was the explanation.
I get that's okay, fine, but the problem is this wasn't written by a 5-year-old. It's written by someone.
Wasn't directed by a 5-year-old.
Yeah, it's probably
5-year-olds don't have what was the budget again? $175 million.
And I don't even want to guess at how much that guy brought home.
Let me give you the TLDR. He said his big theory is that this was written by 5-year-olds.
Yeah. No, that's
about
what I expected.
Yep.
If you watch this movie as if you're watching a kid play with toys.
Yeah. No, I mean...
That's what this is.
Yeah. That's ultimately what got me through the movie is I'm like, this is what G.I. Joe was. This is a G.I. Joe episode.
Yeah. That was... Everybody in the room was not getting mad, but... expressing their dismay with the movie. I'm like, it's a movie based on a cartoon that made no sense to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm not upset by anything that's going on.
But there weren't any toys even really to tie in with this.
But see, and here's the other problem with that. This is very much like you were saying, like, you know, an episode of the cartoon and everything. Except this isn't the 80s anymore. I'm not like 5 years old anymore.
And it's 2 hours
Neither was
long.
the
Yeah, and it's
director and
2
the
hours
writer.
long. Like, I don't, yeah.
And the animation is worse.
Let's fucking step it up, guys. If you're gonna, you know, do something with this property, do something worthwhile. But anyway.
Yeah.
Are we?
Graciously, the movie just ends, and there's no after credit scene, and it's a
There
whole
wasn't
lot
even a
of-
fucking PSA. Could we?
That
at least-
would
yeah,
have been
there
good.
was.
Yeah.
It was the cast list and the special thanks.
We at least gotten like some kids like going to like skateboard and like, you know, one of them like fucks up or something and like Roadblock walks out and gives them life advice.
Don't do meth, kids.
Or what's the one with like the kid lights himself on fire at the campsite and the Indian guy Eagle or something. He shows up and just like rolls him in a blanket. And when the kids finally out, he's like, "You didn't take anything out of our tent, did you?" G.I.Joe. Oh, give him the fucking stick.
Smokey the
Don't
Bear.
give him the stick. Oh.
Smokey the Bear comes out and gives him the old Revenant.
Honestly, I am going to recommend that you just go on YouTube and watch the G.I. Joe
Yes.
PSAs.
Oh, absolutely. They're fantastic.
Stop all the download.
So, that was G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra. I guess I'm asking. Who's asking? Tony, go, please.
So yeah, on RottenTomatoes.com,
Past my bedtime.
Critics gave this a score of 33%.
All right.
Audience gave this a score of 50%.
Why?
That's about what I expect.
That's actually lower than I thought, but I'm guessing that's like more current, like it's been updated.
Only half of the audience could legally sign their own name.
So Rob, while you're talking, why don't you tell us?
It's
what your-
bad. I don't recommend it.
Joe, John, whoever the fuck you are. Jesus, I'm tired.
Snake guy.
Snake guy.
I definitely don't recommend it, but I didn't hate it. I was mildly entertained.
It's like bad even for an asylum movie.
Brick.
If you are 5 or the parent of a 5-year-old that wants to show this movie to a
Nope,
5-year-old.
you're not, and you won't. All right, so Brick
Yeah.
doesn't
Other
recommend
than that,
Take
don't
it
watch
away.
it.
Yeah.
It's rated PG, right? It's not for 5-year-olds.
Yeah, no, like
There's
there's
PG-13. They were
PG-13,
throwing
yeah.
some shits around, and
Shooting a bunch
There
of
was
people.
there was some
a
blood.
man was decapitated by a hand grenade.
yeah, there's a
Boobs
few good
jiggling on a
elements.
freaking like stair stepper thing.
There's a few good elements. Some
I
decent.
want that in the parental guidance like warnings.
It's probably there.
Jiggling on a
Honestly,
stair-stepping thing.
check out parental guidance sometime. It's probably there.
Shake weight.
There are a few good elements occasionally and some decent casting. But again, yeah, it's another one like kind of like with the Transformers and everything. Like we Googled the names of things and like certain catchphrases to put in the movie. Other than that, we couldn't give a shit about the property. So if you're a G.I. Joe fan, you're probably not gonna like it. If you're a new fan coming to it, you're probably not gonna like it. It's just not very good. It's just not very good. It's not anger. It's not something like terrible that's gonna anger me. But it's just incredibly stupid and like a waste of time. So not recommend. And then to our military expert,
Yes. Tell us
Joe
how
Brook
accurate this-
Commander.
Yeah, so I went through a lot with this movie. First, I was extremely mad.
I was afraid.
You had to take a
Then-
night's
then-
sleep.
All the
Yeah.
stages
Just a
of
nap.
grief.
I literally at one point I just tapped out and like self-preservation took over and I just closed the fucking thing down. Viewing it again, viewing the part I missed, I pretty quickly came to the realization, like John was saying, I'm like, this is a G.I. Joe episode. This is what the show was. And like the only thing the G.I. Joe show was good for was selling some toys that, I played with, and I had all kinds of fun adventures with my G.I. Joe toys that I, remember. And I enjoyed that. But like,
Did your plots make more sense?
I don't remember what my plots were, but probably more than this.
At least people actually got shot with the weapons and vehicles got hit with the weapons in this, whereas in the cartoon show, nobody ever got hit.
Well, every vehicle would blow up, though.
But not because it got hit by a missile or something. It would drive into a ditch.
No, vehicles, if they did, they would just show the guy bailed out.
Oh yeah,
no matter
vehicles
what,
would get hit by missiles and gunfire.
All right, but then they eject
not the people.
come down with the parachute.
A lot of the vehicles would get hit probably because the guy bailed out like a minute before the missile hit. But anyway, so bottom line, I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, it's actually, like Tony said, it's somehow not at all related to the source material and 100% accurate to the source material at the same time. And I'm like, okay, so it's bad. G.I. Joe was bad. It was a cool toy line that I loved, but it wasn't a good show. This isn't a good movie. So I'm like, how can this movie be good? What could I have done differently that would have made this better? Nothing. Like this couldn't have been a good movie.
I would disagree with that.
To be true to G.I. Joe, it can't be a good movie.
We don't need to be that true.
Maybe to the comic book.
Give me Jarhead and call the main character Duke. That's all I need. It doesn't need to be that complicated.
But where I'm getting at is it's one of the many, many 80s franchises that needs to stay where it is. And we don't need to go back to it. We can make toys out of it again. That's fine. You could have your own little adventures in your head, but I don't want another movie, show, whatever. And I want, this could have been something original. This money could have been spent on someone who has a new idea. I'm not even talking like for society's greater good. I'm talking about just in the scope of art.
So what you're trying to say is you're really excited for the new Hasbro Cinematic Universe.
Of course. I want that Connect 4 movie so bad.
I'll argue that a new show could be done and could be done well.
I don't know.
Like a movie could have too, or still even could.
I'm going to continue.
They're not gonna
disagree with that. But bottom line, just stop. This is what I'm getting at. Just stop. This was a movie that I just absolutely did not want to watch. And when I saw the trailer, I saw the trailer in the movie theater, and I'm like, I don't want that to exist, and I never want to see this. And it's been one of my low points with this podcast, having to watch it. I knew this would be bad. I didn't think it would be that bad.
Yeah, the other night when you had to watch it, you were like, you were.
Well, I was just in a bad mood yesterday.
You were in a bad mood, but this did not help.
Yeah.
Also, just to throw this in, so IMDb's parental guides, sex and nudity. We have Ripcord says that he's sexy. Gotta mention that. Several brief kissing throughout the movie. A woman wears tight leather in several scenes. And yes, a woman wears a push-up bra in a few scenes. Large amounts of cleavage is shown.
Thank you for letting me know.
I hate the Puritan rating word. I hate it. I hate it so much. I know.
Don't worry, everybody. I'll cut him out in posts.
Let's roll a different movie. Oh wait, does anyone have a different recommendation than the G.I. Joe PSAs?
Anything.
Yeah. Go outside and play with some toys.
I kind of would rather watch Battleship instead of this.
That's invalid. Nope.
All right.
No.
This
this versus Battleship. I'll take Battleship.
This or
maybe
Transformers 2.
I'll take Transformers 1, not 2.
But this came out the same year as Transformers 2, right?
Yeah, Transformers 2 that's a whole new level of suck.
I'll take the Sienna Miller heroin way out of it.
Yeah. I'll take 100 Sienna
Don't
Miller
you get
heroin
Marlon Wayans either way?
No, I don't think you get him in Transformers.
No.
Which one was the Wayans that played one of the Transformers? Didn't one of them voice one of the Transformers?
I don't think so.
Unless one of them was Skids or Mudflap, but I don't think so.
That's what I thought.
I hope
It was
not.
This
Tom
whole
Kenny
time-
and somebody. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I've been trying to remember where I've heard those names from before. Are they from In Living Color?
Yes.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Wayne County.
The Wayans brothers were there. Yes.
I got one, Tony.
Not Marlon, but that's...
Damon
Marlon was on
Wayans.
In Living Color.
Was he?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he was there from the beginning, but he showed up by the end. 'Cause it was Keenan Ivory and then Damon and then Marlon.
Okay. Anyway, I'll recommend the cartoon one we already did because it wasn't great, but it wasn't even all that good. But it was better than this, so...
That had some semi-compelling scenes in it.
Yeah, we're going with that.
Okay, cool.
What else we got, Rob?
What is next, guys? It's time to spin
D20
the D20 of Fate.
20 of Fate.
I
I've
think
been
is in the
forgetting this
drawer
theme
behind
song, so I'm bringing it back. D20 of Fate. D20 of Fate. Don't ruin it. D20 of Fate.
Who's rolling?
D20 of Fate. D20 of Fate.
Who rolled last time? Was it?
I think it was me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a fresh cycle. I think it's Tony now.
Okay.
Fresh.
Because both John and Brick got a chance.
There you go.
We need
Fresh Prince of Tone
we
era.
need just a bearable movie. Like it's been
Yeah.
bad lately.
I saw the list. I would just
Yeah, lower them
abandon all
expectations
hope.
now.
Can Tony just pass? Just like don't roll. Well,
Yeah.
Someone sponsor an episode.
yeah.
Doesn't suck.
Okay.
A 2.
That's a 2.
That's great.
Oh no. Oh no.
What is it?
Is that the Tom Cruise one?
It is.
Okay.
It's
Well, that's
2005's The War of the Worlds.
another fucking boring movie.
Oh, God.
I haven't seen this one, and I try not to donate to Scientology. So
They're
this will
not
give me an
spending any
excuse.
money.
Donate to Scientology.
I don't even know.
Is that something you gotten tricked into before?
Every time you're contributing to Tom Cruise's budget, you're donating to Scientology. Am I
Alright, guys.
wrong?
We're gonna take Brick's little soapbox away, and we're gonna go ahead and end the podcast here. Right? Yeah? Anybody?
Fuck.
Fuck.
All right, get them all out. All right. Thank you so much for listening.
Adios.
Bye-bye. Crying is half the battle.
Going back to my hole in Egypt.
Good night, everybody.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe, and if possible, leave a review. If you have questions, comments, or would like to sponsor an episode, email us at the4ampodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, you can buy a t-shirt, hoodie, and more at Teespring. Or gain access to exclusive content by becoming a patron at patreon.com/4ampodcast. Thanks again for listening. See you next time.